Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I wasn't aware that the timer is over. I thought the intro was still going on, so I was kind of a little bit surprised to be here. Anyway, David, what's up? How you doing?
What's up?
Oh yeah, what's up? So, David, have you heard of this guy called Dan Bilzerian?
Seems like an Andrew Tate wannabe douche.
I can't really tell if who is the wannabe of those two, because one of those was famous before the other, but they are both kind of scumbags. So it's kind of it's difficult to tell. It's difficult to tell what's going on here. Difficult to tell what exactly happened in this world that we're in. But yes, hello everybody and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet Show, and today we want to talk about a variety of things, but first and foremost, I thought we should have a conversation about the Holocaust. You think the Holocaust is funny?
I think you're funny. I think we should have a discussion about the Holocaust. Yeah, only thing you were missing was your nerd glasses.
Oh yeah, true.
You got to say that over again later with your nerd glasses.
We need to have a conversation about the Holocaust.
There you go.
Okay, fantastic. So, Holocaust Memorial Day. David and I have been to different places. We are pretty much aware of the history, pretty much aware of the proofs and the evidences for the Holocaust. It is undeniable at this point. In fact, there is I recently saw an attempt which I kind of wanted to replicate. In fact, I even made a note of it somewhere, of things that people commonly believe definitely happened, but that are much less documented than the Holocaust. You'll be surprised by how many things there are on that list. Lots of things that are known to be true. Much about the Roman Empire that we know to be true relies on things that rely on just like little bits and pieces of information, but we just take them for granted and say, "Oh yeah, totally, man, definitely happened. The Napoleonic Wars and so on. Many of those things, yeah, man, definitely, totally happened. Exactly this and that way. Much of the detail relies on tiny bits and pieces of information. And there's lots of stuff. If you're going to deny the Holocaust, you might as well deny the shape of the Earth, So there are lots of problems. However, in today's time, once again, it becomes prominent among some mentally ill people to say Holocaust never happened. It's lie. It's big lie. They lied to us, and so on.
Hey,
what?
Hey, don't underestimate the significance there of what you just said, comparing it to like the shape of the Earth, right? The idea here is if you don't want to believe something, you can raise your skepticism level up to whatever you need to raise it up to avoid. If you do not want to believe that the Earth is spherical in shape, any evidence people give you can say, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? But there's this other thing you haven't thought of. But you can do that with absolutely anything, and of course, you can do it with the Holocaust. In other words, you say, "Hey, here are these records." Well, how do I know that those are true? What about this? Look at this trial here where he admitted this. How do you know he wasn't lying? You can always deny evidence. And even if they showed you the DNA of 6 million dead bodies, how do I know that they do not all die of natural causes at a different time? You can be as skeptical as you want to deny anything you want. But fortunately, we have a quotation from the Talmud that settles everything right here.
Oh yeah, we have a quotation here that says, so the Talmud says, Dan Bilzerian is retarded in Gad Shas 42.
And it's kind of a that's a good idea, AP. If people are going to make up quotations from the Talmud and even
make up
in like books of the Talmud that don't exist. What was it, Libra David? It's not in there, and yet I see it on like every meme. Look what is in the Talmud, dude. That source isn't even in the Talmud. What's wrong with you? Then yes, we can all do that too. So now we can just say anything we want. Candace Owens is a man. Gad Shaz 42. Gad Shaz 42 says all kinds of
Actually, this guy here responded to my post with this Libra Dan 42A. There was this perverted retarded. His name was Dan Bilzerian that hated Jews for clicks.
And guys, I don't know how you can deny it. It's right there. Hebrew and English. Libra Dan, you got the title right there. You know this is a 100% legit quotation directly from the Talmud. Look at it. It's significantly more believable than some of the ones from Libra David and so on that people put on the screen.
That's true. That's true. That's very, very, very much true. This was, of course, inspired by this video here.
Like it literally says in the Talmud, like if a Gentile, nobody knew about it. Like it literally says in the Talmud, like if a Gentile reads this
in the child mood.
Where? What's the section on that?
It literally says in the child mood. See the child.
In the child mood.
It says it literally says in the child mood.
Why is this guy obsessed with child moods?
Gentile reads this, you should kill him, and that's because they don't want people to know what the fuck it said. And until very recently, it wasn't really translated, and nobody knew, and nobody really talked about it. But now that it's been translated, it's like starting to be uncovered, and it's like, wow.
When it was in Hebrew and Aramaic and whatever, how would you worried about Gentiles stumbling upon that? But what's he even talking about here? I remember the quotation that we've covered before, where you had a rabbi who said that if basically the law is given to us, so if a Gentile steals it, it's like being a robbery, and he is worthy of death or something like that. But then another rabbi says right after that and says, no, the law is for the word. These are the words of God for everybody. If a Gentile gets them, then he's like the high priest. It's like he's becoming like the high priest.
The funny thing is that
he talking about that? That's the only thing I'm familiar with. But
the funny thing is that he's also, what he's saying here is that the Talmud says that that those who read the Talmud should be put to death. That's not what it says. What the Talmud actually says is that it is taught that that those pagans shall not shall not study the Torah, and those who do shall be put to death. And then the conversation goes on to. Aren't even those Gentiles who study the Torah considered, or who are teachers who are students of the Torah considered like a Jewish high priest? So, so there's a whole discussion there.
And the justification is because it says that man shall live by these words. It doesn't say Jews. It says man, and therefore you can't rule out other people.
So it literally says somebody who, a non-Jew who studies the Torah is like a Jewish high priest. Not just like a Jew, it's like a Jewish high priest. That's literally what it says. Literally what it says. In fact,
so AP, how many you've had lots of Jews over the centuries, sometimes in positions of power and authority. How many executions of Gentiles for reading the Torah are we familiar with?
Well, I was once walking down the street and I saw just like heads rolling, and I asked what's going on with these guys, and they said, well, they tried to study the Torah, so we had to put them to death. But the serious answer is not a single person.
So guys, think about this situation. You have a quote from a rabbi in the Talmud that does not say what Dan said. He completely misrepresents it because he got it in a meme from Nick Fuentes or something. He completely misrepresents what it says. It's talking about the Torah. Completely misrepresents the idea that these guys have no authority. A rabbi somewhere has no authority to impose any sort of death sentence. No one has ever died because of this. It's not even clear that they don't actually mean death sentences. They just say anything you're doing wrong. He's worthy of death. He's worthy of death. They're not actually putting anyone to death. No one's ever been put to death over this. And then he leaves out the fact that right after that, you get a response from another rabbi saying, no, you're wrong. And he's leaving out the fact that there is not a single Jew anywhere on the planet who would think of putting someone to death for opening up the Torah and reading it. And he's acting like, you see, this is why you got to watch these Jews. Did you know this? Did you know this about the Jews? It doesn't apply to one Jew on the planet. And it has never applied at any point in history that you would be killed for reading the Talmud or something like that. And he's spouting this idiotic nonsense to morons who are stupid enough to fall for it.
So here's the quote. It's part of a lengthy discussion of one saying that those who study the Torah and adopts it robs the Jewish people of it. So he's considered like somebody who has intercourse with a girl that has been betrothed or something like that. And then it continues challenging this idea and saying, but if priests, Levites, and Israelites do, they shall live by them, is not stated, but rather a man, which indicates mankind in general. You have therefore learned that even a Gentile who engages in Torah study is considered like a high priest.
Now, here's a question, AP. Why do you never hear the Nick Fuentes types, the Dan Bilzerian types going, did you know that in the Talmud it says that if a Gentile learns the Torah, he's like the high priest? How could this be? Oh, my goodness. Why do they never say that? Like ever?
Because it doesn't sell. It doesn't go well with their audience.
It doesn't sell.
So they would have to ignore this.
All the Jews have to be ready to kill you at any point, and they're just waiting for the opportunity. And in the meantime, when they can't, they just sabotage your financials at your bank.
They would have to ignore this. But even if you let's say this doesn't exist, and let's say okay, the Talmud is bad and stuff, right? So here's the thing: the Talmud is not considered a scripture that is being word for word followed by Jews. It is held to very high esteem in Rabbinic Judaism. It literally means study, and it is meant to be a library which you can read, which takes forever to read, which rabbis study for 7 or more years to fully grasp, or to just have studied it. And you don't follow all of it. Most of it is not to be followed. Most of it is just to be learned and to be studied, to interpret the Torah, and then to engage in discussions over it and so on. Only a minority of what is in the Talmud is actually law. This certainly is not. It's not law. This is a discussion. So, but even if we put all of that aside, even if all of this is gone, unfortunately, it doesn't just stop with the Talmud. It goes directly to this here. Of course, it's very funny. It says Dan Bilzerian has blocked you, so that's very, very cool. But it goes down to stuff like this. He took advantage of the date today and said 6 million Jews did not die during World War II. They lied to you. They lied. Who lied?
Yeah, who's the they here? Like historians, or is it just like Jews? They lied to you, Jews. I guess the pronoun only apply. The only they mentioned here is Jews, so it's the Jews who lied.
Very, very, very funny stuff. And then he tries to reference a narrative where initially after the war, 4 million prisoners died in the Auschwitz concentration camp. This was the idea. That figure, which originated with the findings of the Soviet Commission investigating Nazi crimes, was based on accounts by former prisoners and so on. This number was revised later and was actually brought down to 1.1 or 1.2 million in Auschwitz concentration camp. However, he ignores, to be very honest, the guy is dumb as hell, so he probably doesn't even know what actually happened.
He does seem pretty dumb. I've only seen a couple clips of him. He always seemed like a freaking grade A, 85 IQ moron.
The guy is a complete retard, so he probably doesn't really know what any of this entails and what it means. So he thinks, they said 4 million, and then this was revised, so this means not less than 4 million people actually killed. This is about Auschwitz itself only. The number of people killed during the Holocaust is not restricted to Auschwitz.
Yeah,
it is also not restricted to the death camps.
Yeah, not the death camps. They were killing lots of people. Guys, lots of people died outside the death camps. Most people who died in World War II died outside the death camps. Lots of Jews died outside those death camps. So very. By the way, what's up with people who, if the topic were anything else, people would instantly recognize, why are we listening to this idiot? Jake Shields, for instance, right? He's kind of in the same ballpark with this. A guy who sounds like an idiot, but he gets a big following because he just blasts Jews all day, right? But I mean, think about this: on what topic would you ever listen to Jake. The only topic I would listen to Jake Shields on is if he was telling me something about MMA. Like, here's a takedown or something. Okay, you're an expert in that field, Jake Shields. You're an expert. I don't know what this dude's doing. If it's, you know, I don't know what he's into, some Andrew Tate type stuff. So duping girls or something like that. Maybe this guy's an expert in that or something like that. But why is it that you get these guys who have no idea what they're talking about, who are some of the dumbest people you've ever encountered, and they get huge followings just by complaining about Jews all day? Isn't that like weird? Like, I would not trust this guy. If this guy was like, hey, let me tell you about science, I'd be like, why would I care what you say about science? Let me tell you about math. Dude, I don't think you know anything about math. Prove me wrong. You could go down the list. I would not trust this guy on anything. Suddenly, let me tell you about the history of the Holocaust. And he does not understand at all what he's doing.
That's what they live
in weird times.
They rely on stupid people. That's what they do.
That's what I'm saying. It reminds me of like Dawa, where certain kind of people, even if they're complete idiots, as long as they're thumping their chest, they're taken as heroes. But here's the other topic where that is relevant. The bigger the moron you are, the more of an authority you are on the history of Jews and the Holocaust, and the more of an expert you are on the Talmud.
It's the thing is, with this topic, you really don't have to know anything at all. You don't have to make any compelling arguments. You don't have to even make sense. You don't have to form any coherent sentences. All you need to do is sit there and sound like this, and then sit there and say, the Jews are behind all of these things, and they say Holocaust. They're trying to control us with all of that. And actually, they're trying to make you feel guilty, and none of that actually happened. This is all you need to do. You don't need to say anything. This is all you need to do, and suddenly, boom, you have people following you and sharing your stuff. So here is this is one of the very common misconceptions. Here is directly from the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, from the Holocaust Encyclopedia. It breaks down how the killings or where the killings took place. So this is a breakdown and explanation of how 6 million Jewish people were murdered in the Holocaust. Here you can see around 2.7 million of the Jews killed during the Holocaust were killed in concentration camps, in killing centers. The Nazi German regime created 5 killing centers specifically to murder Jewish people using poison gas. These killing centers were called Chelmno, Belzec, Sobibor, Treblinka, and Auschwitz-Birkenau. So 2.7 million were killed in these camps, not 6 million. 6 million were not altogether killed just in camps. It was around 2.7 million that were killed in the camps.
And not all of those at the one camp, Auschwitz.
Yeah, not all. Only 1.1 or 1.2 billion. I need to verify that quickly.
You said billion.
Million were killed in Auschwitz-Birkenau, which is also not just one camp. It's a collection. 2 million of the Jews were murdered in mass shooting operations and related massacres. We actually have lots of evidence for this, including direct documents which the Nazis themselves sent over. In fact, it's very funny. They try to, sometimes Nazis come into the conversation and they try to say, oh, the Soviets made this up. The Soviets made up the narrative because it's a communist thing. It's a communist plot. There's actually one document which is called the Jaeger Report, which the Soviet Union captured and was in possession of and hid for decades, which was a direct piece of evidence where German soldiers sent information back to headquarters that they had completed their mission of eradicating the Jews of Lithuania, for example. Let's see. So let's have the text here. Here is an example of the image of this. Here you can find a copy of this. So the Jaeger Report, which belonged to a certain commando, which was a death squad, Einsatzkommando 3, led by a guy named Karl Jaeger. They had the mission to go and take from their homes and kill as many Jewish people as possible, and also other people, including some intellectuals, certain people of certain religious backgrounds, and so on, but primarily Jews. So what they would do is, in the middle of the war, while Germany is at war, these little death squads go to the edges of the German territory and even beyond enemy lines, and go through the different towns and round up all of the Jews and the Roma and some Polish people, some intellectuals, some known communist authors, for example, round them up into the streets and shoot them all, engage in mass shootings of these people. And then they count them and make reports of those. Here is one of those reports.
Wait a minute. The Germans kept records of things?
Yeah.
I suspect that if we examine such records, we could find evidence of killing Jews. Is that true?
Yes.
Huh. Imagine that. It's not just... In other words, AP, what you're saying is, when we talk about the Holocaust and how many people died, we're not just saying, oh, a Jew said it. There's more to it than that? There's more to it than a Jew saying it?
Yes.
So if there's more than just a Jew saying it, then it doesn't make sense to just say, they lied to you. Because keep in mind, if it was just someone saying something, you could say that person made it up. You're saying there's actually more to go on than what someone said?
Yes.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. That's weird. Dan didn't mention that.
Yes.
He just said the Jews lied.
That's true.
Maybe they photoshopped this.
Here you have some of the things that they say here. I will just make it convenient. Here's a translation. I can establish today that the goal to solve the Jewish problem for Lithuania has been reached by EK3. There are no Jews anymore in Lithuania, with the exception of the Arbeitsjuden, the labor Jews, and their families. These number 4,500 in Šiauliai, 15,000 in Kaunas, 15,000 in Vilnius. These Arbeitsjuden and their families I also wanted to off, which earned me sharp criticism from the civil administration and the Wehrmacht, and led to the prohibition these Jews and their families cannot be shot. The goal of making Lithuania Judenfrei, which means free from Jews, could only be achieved by setting up a roll commando with selected men under the leadership of SS Obersturmführer Hammann, who fully embraced my goals and knew how to guarantee collaboration with the Lithuanian partisans and the competent civil authorities. They were working together with certain Lithuanian forces to kill the Jews as well. And we even have photos of that, and we saw those photos at the Holocaust Museum.
I have to say, one of the things the Germans were good at is coming up with intimidating names. Obersturmführer. That sounds that's like Darth Vader, man. You don't want to mess with that.
I know.
That's a creepy sounding dude.
Obersturmführer. Well, that's a title. That's a Obersturmführer.
Obersturmführer.
Superior storm leader.
Pretty creepy, man. Storm leader.
Yeah.
Superior storm leader. Who are you? I am superior storm leader. Dang.
Here's one of the visuals of plans to make every single aspect of Europe free from Jews. As said, the term they use is Judenfrei, which means free from Jews. The plan is to divide Europe into separate territories, and then to make sure that every single one of them, or to assess each one of them, to write down the numbers of Jews, to distribute this, and then to make a plan to kill all of those Jews, to finally make Germany free from all Jews. This is the plan of what they call the final solution. It was not just limited to concentration camps. It was far more than that. And some places had significantly more Jews than other places. Poland was a place with lots of Jews, which is why in Poland lots of Jews were killed, and concentration camps and the extermination camps were very much focused in Poland, because that's where it was convenient to ship people and to also have them killed. So this is one of those reports, and there are many of these reports. This report here was captured by the Soviet Union during the war, and they actually kept this secret and didn't publish it and didn't release it until the 1960s, the Soviet Union. And the funny thing is, one of the reasons why the Soviet Union didn't make this public and why they kept it to themselves, and it was only released later at some ordeal, is that the Soviet Union actually wanted to actually had this whole thing of not emphasizing the oppression of Jews when talking about the Second World War. They wanted to make it more about themselves, about how the Nazis were these fascists and we were their main enemies and we defeated them and so on. They didn't really emphasize the whole anti-Jewish aspect of the Holocaust. This is not something that they concerned themselves with because the Soviet Union wasn't really fond of Jews. Russia in general was usually not very fond of Jews, so they didn't really care about this. And releasing documents like these would just distract from them being the victim and would turn the Jews into a victim, which is why they didn't want to release this kind of stuff. It took them 20 years to release this. The Soviets certainly didn't have the aim to serve the Jews. The Germans and their allies and collaborators carried out mass shooting operations and related massacres of Jews in more than 1,500 cities, towns, and villages across occupied Eastern Europe. Between 800,000 and 1 million Jews were murdered in ghettos, labor camps, and concentration camps. In ghettos, concentration camps, and labor camps created by the Germans and their allies and collaborators, Jews were murdered through deliberate privation, disease, brutal treatment, and arbitrary acts of violence. At least 250,000 Jews were murdered in other acts of violence outside of camps and ghettos. So this is just to make the point that nobody has ever argued that 6 million Jews were killed in Auschwitz or in the extermination camps. This is a straw man and often also a misunderstanding.
Yeah, since that's so common, what you'll have, everyone does the same thing. All the gropers and all the Dan Bilzerians and so on, they all do the exact same thing. They all say, 6 million, but we don't believe that. Look at the records of Auschwitz. It doesn't say 6 million. Right. Literally no one is saying 6 million people were killed at Auschwitz. No one at all. You're making that up, which makes your argument a straw man. It's a straw man fallacy. But I wanted to point out, AP, since this is so common, you should share the link to right here so that everyone always has it at hand. Whenever you see this or wherever you see it on Twitter or something, someone going, but 6 million people couldn't have died in Auschwitz. Look right here. It says that number was reduced. Right. And that's, everyone takes that into account when they're talking about the numbers. Give them the link for that in like the description or something like that. And that way, wherever it pops up, people can go, you idiot, take a screenshot and share it, and then share a link to stupid to the numbers here.
I put it in the chat just now, and I will also put it in the description. Later on. Here it lays out in detail the numbers. Auschwitz camp complex, including those gassed upon arrival at the Auschwitz-Birkenau killing center and those who were killed in the camp complex through other means, approximately 1 million.
Wait, not 6 million?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Treblinka, approximately 925,000. Sobibor, 167,000. Belzec, 435,000. Kelno, at least 167,000. So this amounts to approximately 2.7 million Jewish people murdered in these extermination camps, in these killing centers. And this is different from the other concentration camp. These were set up specifically, or these were set up, and they primarily had the purpose of working these people to death and killing them. Many of them upon arrival, some of them just working them to their starvation or sickness or until they collapse, and then just putting them into the chambers and killing them. Very, very absolutely messed up things that they did to people. And you have bastards nowadays denying that kind of stuff. Let me quickly add this to the
maybe we've all been lied to and no one died in World War II.
Nobody died at all. Yeah.
No, maybe that was all made up by the Jews.
Where did 6 million die link here. All right, I put it in the description so that everyone can access it right there. One of the things that I hear sometimes is that they never talk about the non-Jewish victims. You have it right here, man. It's like the Holocaust Encyclopedia. It has it right here. You can also find this generally in. We saw this when we went to the museum, right? There was plenty of information on other minorities and other people that were also being targeted. We had a brief discussion, I think, about Jehovah's Witnesses, and
I always hear this in discussions on, because the Holocaust comes up a lot in the problem of evil, which was my area in philosophy and so on. So when you read, if you read various articles and books and so on the problem of evil, the Holocaust is one of the issues that comes up over and over again. But it's pretty standard to say you had the Holocaust, which we're familiar with the Jews, but also here's all the other people who died. And they list all the numbers of all the other people. So yeah, very common to hear this, not a secret.
that's true. That's what they do.
And look at the numbers, by the way. Soviet prisoners of war, 3.3 million.
Yeah. Now the primary reason.
No, the Russians are making that up. They lied to you. The Russians are lying to you about the 3.3 million.
There are lots of Russians who were killed during this war. The one reason why we are not focusing very much on the Russians who were killed in this war is that they were at war with Nazi Germany, and they were also not very. I don't know how to say this, but the Soviet Union was not really a good guy, so we don't really focus on that very much as well. They did play a role in taking Nazi Germany down,
and for that we thank them. But they're still communist scum.
But they were still scum, and they were actually not very much different from Nazi Germany in many of the things that they did. In fact, they collaborated with Nazi Germany until Hitler betrayed them. Until Hitler backstabbed them, they made a plot together to take over Eastern Europe and to divide it among themselves.
That was a dumb blunder from Hitler. I'm glad he made that dumb blunder, because that brought the Russians into the war, and then they were fighting on two huge fronts, and things could have turned out differently, or at least been drawn out for much longer if Hitler did not go after these commie scum. So yeah. Hey, look at this. Non-Jewish ethnic Poles, 1.8 million non-Jewish Poles. How do we come on? Is this a conspiracy of the Polish to steal our cars and to invent screen doors for submarines and so on by lying about these numbers? No, 1.8 million non-Jewish Poles were not killed. They lied to you.
Hitler didn't like Polish people.
No.
He wasn't really fond of them, to put it mildly. The Nazis didn't really like them. And there is also a quote which is kind of half verified, which is why I'm kind of not very, very much. I don't like using it necessarily, but there is a quote that is a really messed up one from Hitler about Polish people, which is that in this war, the forces should make sure to gather and kill the Polish people as much as possible to help reduce the presence of the inferior Polish people in these territories, because who nowadays cares about the genocide of the Armenians, for example? That is the quote. So he's saying it worked when they genocided the Armenians. So why don't we just do it with the Polish people? But there is not enough evidence to verify that is actually a perfectly authentic quote. So hard to use. Romani men, women, and children, also known as gypsies generally, but that's actually kind of disrespectful, I guess, were killed. Serbian civilians were killed.
I got the gypsies. The gypsies, they're a little trickier to number because they,
yeah,
they kind of travel in like little caravans and so on. They move around, so hard to get exact numbers. But how do we know the gypsies weren't lying about this to control the media?
Here we have a Wade saying Poles were massacring Germans. That's not true. Yes, this is actually typical Nazi talking point to justify the invasion of Poland, where they, by the way, killed fellow Christians. So
No, Poland invaded Germany and started the war.
Hitler made the claim that he gave this very, very, very pathetic speech, which is why I kind of compare him to Putin, because when Putin invaded Ukraine, he sounded exactly like Hitler. He was like, and in Poland, they are massacring ruthlessly those of German blood. And all those democratic nations in the world do not think for a second to intervene and do something about it. Nothing like that was happening. Nothing like that was happening.
Hold on. You just said it was an awful, pathetic speech. But whenever we're like behind the scenes, you're like, oh, he's the greatest speaker of all time. There's never been a speaker with a voice like a chorus of little birdies as he speaketh. And so, like, now what? He's an awful speaker because we're online?
Yeah, that's only what I say in private.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in public, I have to say that he's an awful speaker. No, he was not an awful speaker. It was just a pathetic speech.
Oh, okay.
It was like, they're killing our Germans. It never happened. What did happen, in fact, one thing did happen, and I wouldn't say that is something worthy of praise at all, which is that after the war, people in Poland or Polish authorities and authorities in certain other countries did commit an ethnic cleansing on Germans to retaliate and to basically get rid of German presence, to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. That was ethnic cleansing, and that was violence. It was retribution. It was a revenge, and so on. That definitely happened, but nothing happened before the war at all. German political opponents and dissenters, Germans imprisoned in concentration camps, professional criminals, gay men, bisexual men, black people, and so on.
No! The gays are lying to you.
The gays are...
They're trying to control the media.
The gays control the media. So yeah, that is how it's divided. See how much such a stupid misconception takes so much of our time, because we have to correct such stupidity. Absolute stupidity. Now, how do we know how many people were killed? How about first we try to understand how many people they wanted to kill? There is one hugely big piece of evidence that is undeniable, which is called the Protocol of the Wannsee Conference. The Protocol of the Wannsee Conference. This is a conference in which the final solution, the Endlösung, was directly preached to high-ranking individuals in Nazi Germany, in the Nazi government. And among those, you can find the Ministry of the Interior, Ministry of Occupied Eastern Territories, the party chancellery, Müller, Eichmann, different people here that are part of this meeting. In this meeting, the discussion of the final solution of the European Jewish question is laid out. In this discussion, the plan to eradicate the Jews of Europe is laid out. The most important elements are forcing the Jews out of the various areas of life of the German people, forcing the Jews out of the living space of the German people, to take all measures for the preparation of increased immigration of the Jews, to direct the flow of immigration, to speed up immigration in individual cases, and cleanse the German living spaces of Jews in a legal manner. However, to then continue further with that, because an efficient way has been found to put them into certain camps and to eradicate them. In the course of this final solution of the European Jewish question, approximately 11 million Jews may be taken into consideration, distributed over the individual countries as follows. They then lay out the territories and mark how many Jews are in each territory. And according to their own findings, according to their own plans, there is a projected 11 million Jews in Europe, including the 5 million in the Soviet Union. And those are supposed to be eradicated. Those are supposed to be eradicated. Those are supposed to be killed. This document, the Wannsee Protocols, is one of the most important pieces of evidence for their direct goal of eradicating the Jews. Here's the thing. Even if we accepted for a second that they didn't actually kill 6 million people, or that they didn't actually kill 6 million Jews, this document itself shows their intention and their official approval for the eradication of all Jews, not just 6 million, but of all Jews throughout Europe. So had they taken control over all of the territory, had they succeeded with their goals, they would have eradicated all the Jews of Europe. Were you going to say something?
I was just thinking in terms of means, motive, and opportunity. Normally, what you're looking for in convicting someone of a crime. So here you would say, this is their motive, and they were cut short as far as the means and the opportunity to do it, but they killed as many as they were able to, given the time constraints and so on. And the estimates for how many they did that to is around 6 million. And you've got complete dopes who just seem obsessed with denying. It's like they told you what their goal was. They want to kill all of them. They killed around 6 million of them. Why in the name of common sense are you saying Jews made this up? Jews are lying about this. Like, what sort of lunatic are you? Anyway, I don't know. Just weird. Hey, AP, I have to say, because you shared the link, because it's good that people need to have easy access to this. You should actually have like a short video, like a couple-minute video. Yeah. Just play a little clip of a couple tweets of Dan or maybe a couple of others saying this, and especially when they're giving their. But look, even here, the numbers on Auschwitz that were originally given were later reduced. Yeah, we know that. That's all taken into account. The updated, revised number of deaths at Auschwitz are what are used as part of the 6 million total. We know that, you giant moron. In fact, the revision to the numbers shows, yes, as people go through records and find out more, they get increasingly accurate numbers. The numbers we have now are the best we've got. So what do you have that's better when everything the guy says is like a straw man or just a flat out lie? So anyway, point is, might want to couple these guys who are using that, but no, that many people weren't killed at Auschwitz. No one's saying that, and here are the actual numbers, and here's how you know where we're getting them from. Pretty straightforward.
That is very, very much true. By the way, they also have they also discussed certain things like here it talks about Mischlinge, which means the mixed breed ones, the ones who are Germans with Jewish blood. First degree Mischlinge married to persons of German blood from whose marriages there are children, and so on. How to continue with all of this kind of stuff. The Nazis had some very, very messed up ideas of what happens to humans when they mix with different races, especially with the Jewish race and so on. You can see here some plans like SS Gruppenführer Hoffmann is of the opinion that extensive use must be made of sterilization. So it doesn't really matter if they are just pure Jews. It also comes to just Germans with mixed Jewish blood. Extensive use must be made of sterilization, as the Mischling, given the choice of evacuation or sterilization, would prefer to accept sterilization. Marriages must be dissolved so that no child bearing could take place. Sterilizations must be done for those for whom it is already too late. And so on. It's these people were messed up. Anyone who defends them is
you sick in the mind?
They are very, very sick in the mind. Very sick in the mind. Aside from all of this, let's look at this beautiful gentleman here one more time. Aside from all of this, what else do we have? Of course, we have a huge amount of testimonies from witnesses. Now, of course, the Jew haters will come and say, well, how can we trust Jews? The Jews escaped. How can we trust Jews? Jews lie, of course. The funny thing about this is that you have Jews escape at different times from completely different territories. Jews rescued at different times from completely different territories, and they all give similar accounts of things that happened to them and how they were mistreated. If you have doubts about the Holocaust, go visit a Holocaust museum. Please do it. Please do it. Go through the whole thing. Get out of there. And then tell me once again it didn't happen. You sick people. You're sick. You're sick. Secondly, or thirdly, I would recommend one thing, which is that in 1945, actually, there are some people who say first after 1945, they told us 4 million died in Auschwitz and so on. In 1945, there were already conclusions or estimates by certain people like Jakob Leszczynski that it is estimated that about 6 million people 6 million Jewish people have been killed. These were very, very early estimates, which then later on were confirmed. I want to go to something even more. Since these people will not trust Jews, they will not trust Jewish testimonies, I want to go directly to Nazi testimonies.
But what if the Jews lied to the Nazis? What if the Jews lied to the Nazis and then the Nazis decided to lie to us because they didn't know what they were talking about?
So here you have a Mr. Otto Ohlendorf, who is one of the most prominent Nazi bastards who openly admitted during the Nuremberg trials to the extermination of Jews. Otto Ohlendorf, will you repeat this oath after me? I swear by God, the Almighty and Omniscient, that I will speak the pure truth and will withhold and add nothing. Here you have this moron here. Where's this? Wade Davies, who funded the ships for the transatlantic slave trade? How about you tell us who did it? And then give us a source to show us who did it.
Well, let me guess, it was the Jews!
Tell us who did it, and then also give me a source, an academic source that shows us who did it. I can tell you what you will give me. You will say, it was the Jews. I read this in this post, in this screenshot. Yes, and then
said it.
And then you will post a screenshot which actually refutes your point, but you are too stupid to realize it.
Yep.
Because you are an imbecile.
Yeah, you're a moron. Guess what, Wade Davies? All kinds of people who wanted to make money took part in the transatlantic slave trade. Generally, what you wouldn't want to do is say, look, this guy who was a Christian was involved in the transatlantic slave trade, therefore Christian. You wouldn't want to do that, would you? And yet that's what you'll do with Jews. What's that mean? It means you're an evil scumbag. Wait, that's what you are. Like, get it through your head so you can change. Part of being a good person, Wade, is recognizing when you're an evil scumbag. That's kind of first step. It's like if you're an idiot, you don't have to be an idiot. You could have a low IQ, but you could always learn more and become smarter. But part of becoming better is learning what an idiot and what an evil scumbag you are. That's part of it. And you guys go around and you lie and you make stuff up and you scream about and whine about Jews all day because you don't want to acknowledge what losers you are and that it's your own fault. So you want someone to blame for the fact that you're total losers. And it's just, dude, it's like the most pathetic thing in the world. Oh, why do I suck so bad? Why am I stuck in this sucking? Because of the Jews. So it's not really my fault. I'm not a total loser. It's because the Jews are so powerful. Dude, my goodness, it's pathetic. And you have to recognize it as such so that you can change and become better.
That's true.
There you go. There's Wade Davies. Why did you do it? The Jews made me do it. Wait. I want to break it down real quick. It's called having an external locus of control, meaning your locus of control is what you view as the primary responsible one for your situation in life. If you have an internal locus of control, that means that you believe you are primarily responsible for your status in life and so on. If you have an external locus of control, you believe that something outside of you is controlling you and that's responsible for your status in life. And so manipulators want you to have an external locus of control. They want you to believe that things outside of you are controlling you and keeping you down in your pathetic situation. And they're why you're a complete loser. Manipulators want you to have an external locus of control because they want to say, therefore, we'll deal with this oppressor for you, this one that's keeping you in this bad situation. We'll deal with that. And then you'll rally around some idiot who's manipulating you. That's what you do, right? Like Nick Fuentes comes along, or Dan Bilzerian. I will save you from the Jews who are making your life suck. And you go, oh really? They're going to save me. And then you give these guys all your attention, and you mindlessly repeat any idiotic nonsense they come up with, because they've used it to manipulate you. They've used it to manipulate you, dude. If you're a loser, you're the primarily responsible one, dude. So you need to be aware of that, and that way you won't depend on complete idiots and lying losers from lying loser land to rescue you from your pathetic situation. So anyway, just trying to help you there. And I'm saying that as I've been there. Difference was I wasn't whining about everyone else being at fault. I found out what a pathetic loser I was in a jail cell. And what happened? Focused on making changes. You could do the same. But you need to stop whining about everyone else and blaming everyone else for how much your life sucks.
There's one other idiot who keeps saying, "Ha ha ha! You stupid idiots! The Red Cross said that only 350,000 people died." Dude, apparently you don't have skills to read the stuff. I mean, just Google it, man. Just Google it. And you will say, oh, why would I Google it? I would rather trust some idiots who type dumb stuff online. Just Google it, man. You can easily fact check this kind of dumb stuff, which people have been saying for 50 million years already. This is a hoax. It's not true. It's not true. It is a completely misinterpreted, out of context, misinterpretation, misappropriation of certain documents by German Red Cross authorities, who never claimed that this is the total number of people who were killed during the Holocaust. You absolute imbecile. Absolute imbecile. I don't want to insult you, but you are such an imbecile. I just don't know how else to address this. How am I supposed to talk to imbeciles? It's just, you are an imbecile, you know. Here we have a very, very, very nice gentleman by the name of Rudolf Höss. And when I say nice gentleman, guess what? I'm actually being sarcastic. Haha.
Very rude.
Just for the Nazis.
Did you know that Jews invented sarcasm? Why are you acting like a Jew?
Rudolf Höss was an SS officer and in charge of the Auschwitz concentration camp. He worked together closely with and also succeeded Adolf Eichmann, who at this time had escaped, but much later was caught by Israel and then brought to justice in the 60s. Let's have a look at what Rudolf Höss said. Rudolf Höss spoke in the Nuremberg trials. You can find the Nuremberg trials in full. You can find all of the transcripts very, very easily, including on one of these pages, which is called famoustrials.com. So here's Rudolf Höss. I know I was just talking about Ohlendorf. I'll come back to that. So here we have Rudolf Höss. Is it true that you yourself have made no exact notes regarding the figures of the numbers of those victims because you were forbidden to make them? Yes, that is correct, says Rudolf Höss.
Hey, what? I just realized why this guy reminds me of like Tate and Bilzerian and so on. His name looks like Hose, which means he sounds like a pimp. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry for that rude interruption.
Rudolf Franz Ferdinand Höss. Will you sit down? Witness, your statement will have far-reaching significance. You are perhaps the only one who can throw some light upon certain hidden aspects and who can tell which people gave the orders for the destruction of European Jewry, and can further state how this order was carried out and to what degree the execution was kept a secret. This is actually very, very important for one very, very incredibly invaluable reason here. Here is Rudolf Höss in the trial that is taking place right after the war. This guy is acknowledged to be possibly the only person who can give us direct numbers and direct accounts of how many people they killed in Auschwitz. Because at this point, they don't have Adolf Eichmann. So these guys are talking about it, and he does acknowledge the number of deaths. However, Israel does something absolutely brilliant, and decades later, catches a guy known as Adolf Eichmann, who will be abundantly referenced in the statements of Rudolf Höss.
Is that why you wear those glasses?
And he will confirm everything that is being said, and he will go even further. So you have two independent accounts. The Nazi apologists will say, "Oh, during the Nuremberg trials, they were tortured." Nobody was physically tortured. And I mean, if your Nazis were such weaklings that they actually, I don't know, that they didn't even have visible injuries, but they were somehow weirdly tortured, and they were okay, I will admit to having done all of these horrible things. Then these guys are very, 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 very unreliable, little soft weaklings, man.
And by the way, just think about the absurdity. So people are saying the Jews lied to you about these numbers. Where are you getting the numbers from? The Germans who are doing it at their trials, where they're saying they're doing. Oh, but they're lying to you. When you start going that road, you can. You're creating an unfalsifiable position. If you're saying any evidence, I'm going to say there was no Holocaust, or that the numbers were very small. So 10,000 Jews, 20,000, maybe 20,000 Jews died as like collateral damage and bombings and stuff. Maybe a few Jews died, but yeah, come on, they weren't targeting Jews. And you look at the records, and yes, they're planning this. And you look, and they have actual records of killing Jews, and we're going to keep these guys as workers. And then you have their trials where they're acknowledging it. If you just say, nope, that's a lie, nope, that's a lie, nope, that's a lie, then just say, I've got a position and I don't care about evidence. I just want to say this, and it doesn't matter. You could give me all the evidence in the world. You could have the bodies of all 6 million of the. You could have. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. I just don't want to believe it. Okay, well, fine.
Wade Davies, I just want to ask you one thing here. You said where are the court transcripts for Eichmann's trial? If I can show you that that Adolf Eichmann's trial documents and all his statements are directly, undeniably on record, and they corroborate completely and perfectly with what Rudolf Höss here said, will you then accept that or not? Let me know, please, and I will get back to you on this one.
And will you acknowledge that you are a pathetic little sniveling crybaby groiper idiot?
Inshallah. Because if we have Höss and Eichmann 2 decades apart confirming the very same things, with these guys assuming that Eichmann is not even around anymore, but Eichmann comes around later and confirms it, being treated like an angel in Israeli prison so much that he actually thought they were going to forgive him and let him go. You have to be kind of insane to not believe the evidence here. However, let's continue with what Höss here says. Witness, your statements will have far-reaching significance, blah, 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 destruction of European Jewry, and can further state how this order was carried out and to what degree the examination was kept a secret. Dr. Kaufman, will you kindly put questions to the witness? Yes. All right. From 1940 to 1943, you were the commander of camp at Auschwitz. Is that true? Höss says yes. So, commander at Auschwitz. And during that time, hundreds of thousands of human beings were sent to their death there. Is that correct? Yes. Is it true that you yourself have made no exact notes regarding the figures of the number of those victims because you were forbidden to make them? Yes, that is correct. Is it furthermore correct that exclusively one man by the name of Eichmann, Eichmann, had notes about this, the man who had the task of organizing and assembling these people? And you will find very, very quickly that Adolf Eichmann was precisely that. He was the guy who was in charge of, he was one of the organizers of the Holocaust. He was in charge of the logistics of the Holocaust. This is the guy. Yes. Is it furthermore true that Eichmann stated to you that in Auschwitz, a total sum of more than 2 million Jews had been destroyed? Höss says yes. Men, women, and children? Yes. You were a participant in the World War? Yes. Let's stop here for a second. So, Höss is asked, is it true that Eichmann stated to you, the guy who has all the numbers, that in Auschwitz itself, a total sum of more than 2 million Jews had been destroyed? Rudolf Höss says yes. He says that Eichmann told him 2 million Jews were killed in Auschwitz alone. There's something very, very interesting here now. Something very, very interesting. We have just seen the list of numbers of people killed, right?
Yeah.
In different camps.
We
and
saw
so
'em.
on. There's something very, very surprising here. Extremely surprising here. As said, in extermination camps, only 2.7 million of the 6 million were killed. If we break down the numbers and we come to how many were killed in Auschwitz, look what we have here. Number of Jewish victims in Auschwitz, approximately 1 million.
Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. You're saying, so this is a Holocaust museum, Holocaust encyclopedia site. You're saying that the Jews who are lying and inflating the numbers actually give estimates of roughly half as many as the actual Germans who were in charge of the thing were? The
Yes.
Jews are giving lower numbers. The Germans are going, we killed 2 million of you at Auschwitz. That's what we did. And the Jews are going, actually, stop exaggerating. We've done the math. It's more like 1 million. The Jews who are lying and inflating the numbers so that they can distract everyone from taking over the world. The Jews are actually saying, hey, everyone, stop exaggerating the numbers. The numbers are not that high. The numbers are closer to this.
Yes.
Is that what we're seeing here
Yes.
right in front of our faces?
Yes. I think everyone should keep this in mind. Everyone should keep this in mind. This is actually amazing to those to counter those who push this whole Holocaust denial. Like, the Jews are exaggerating, they're playing the victim. On the contrary, during the Nuremberg trials, Rudolf Höss himself admits that over 2 million Jews were killed in Auschwitz. Yet we have the authorities, the Jews, and others, and Americans and allies come and actually correct this number to half of that, to only 1 million. So the Nazi guys come and say, yeah, we killed 2 million, more than 2 million in Auschwitz. These guys who are accused of inflating the numbers come and say, okay, we have made the research, we have investigated all of this. Actually, it's rather 1 million, not 2 million. So in reality, it is not the Jews and the Allied forces and and America and the Holocaust Museum and so on are not the ones who are exaggerating. On the contrary, they are correcting the exaggeration and giving us lower numbers. Keep that in your mind. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a moment. Let that sink in for a moment. So, Höss relies on Eichmann, who apparently overestimated the number of Jews they killed in Auschwitz and gave us the number 2 million, which was later corrected by the good guys to 1 million. Men, women, and children, yes. Is it true that no, there is one more detail here. I'm not sure if it was on this page. This happened, the interrogation of these guys happened over long periods of time. Long periods of time. Minutes. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Now here it gets really messed up. So here they are explaining how people were put to death. So there is a lot of detail here, how people are killed. So the trains themselves were closed. That is to say, the doors of the freight cars were closed so that it was not possible from the outside to get a glimpse of the people inside. In addition to that, up to 100 cars of materials, rations, etc., were daily rolled into the camp or continuously left at the workshops of the camp in which war material was being made. And after the arrival of the transports, were the victims stripped of everything they had? Did they have to undress completely? Did they have to surrender their valuables? Is that true? Yes, says Höss. These are not just questions made up on the spot here. This relies on tons of documents that they are given during this court directly there. They constantly reference these documents as they speak. And then they immediately went to their death. Höss says yes. Dr. Kaufman says, I ask you, according to your knowledge, did these people know what was in store for them? Look here, Höss. The majority of them did not. For steps were taken to keep them in doubt about it, and suspicion would not arise that they were to go to their death. For instance, all doors and all walls bore inscriptions to the effect that they were going to undergo a delousing operation or take a shower. This was made known in several languages to the internees by other internees who had come in with earlier transports and who were being used as auxiliary crews during the whole action. And then you told me the other day that death by gassing set in within a period of 3 to 15 minutes. Is that correct? Yes. You also told me that even before death finally set in, the victims fell into a state of unconsciousness. Yes. From what I was able to find out myself, or from what was told me by medical officers, the time necessary for reaching unconsciousness or death varied according to the temperature and the number of people present in the chambers. Loss of consciousness took place within a few seconds or a few minutes. Did you yourself ever feel pity with the victims, thinking of your own family and children? Yes. How was it possible for you to carry out these actions in spite of this? Hurst says, in view of all of these doubts which I had, the only one and decisive argument was the strict order and the reason given for it by the Reichsführer Himmler.
Hey, very, very important, because we brought this up before. These guys Nazis went to trials. Nazis went on trials to determine what they did and what they're responsible for and what their sentence is going to be and so on. When these guys are brought to trial and they're asked what they did and why'd they do it and so on, their defense is never, what are you talking about? We didn't kill Jews. We didn't kill all those Jews. What are you talking about? Someone's making that up. The Jews are making that up. Never happened. There was no Holocaust. Their defense was, yeah, we did it, but it was an order. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I'd be in trouble if I didn't follow that order. The decisive argument was the strict order and reason given for it by the Reichsführer Himmler.
And then, in view of all of these doubts, I did it because Himmler told me. And Heinrich Himmler was a very, very close friend of Hitler. Hitler loved Himmler. He was like, Himmler is my darling. He's my sweetheart. He's my sweetheart.
Extremely gay. This was basically the Muhammad and the Dahya al-Kalbi of Nazi Germany, ladies and gentlemen.
He said, my Himmler, mein Heinrich Himmler, said Hitler to Heinrich Himmler. This guy. Not sure why he fell in love with this guy specifically.
Yeah, kind of a little dorky dude.
I ask you whether Himmler inspected the camp and convinced himself, too, of the process of annihilation. Yes, Himmler visited the camp in 1942, and he watched in detail the one processing from beginning to end, or in one processing. Does the same apply to Eichmann? Yes, Eichmann came repeatedly to Auschwitz, was intimately acquainted with the proceedings. What's very funny about this
guy be snitching on everybody, man.
Yeah. What's funny about this is that Hurst is here saying that Eichmann came repeatedly to Auschwitz to directly for himself witness the exterminations. And you know what's funny? 2 decades later, during the trials of Adolf Eichmann in Israel, Adolf Eichmann denies that he actually saw what's happening here. And then they remind him of it and say, this is not true according to those you were very close with and worked with. According to them, you went there multiple times and witnessed the extermination from beginning to end.
Oh, yeah. That kind of slipped my mind. Sorry.
He tries then talking himself out of it and so on. It's so pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
These people killed millions of people. And yeah. Did the defendant Kaltenbrunner ever inspect the camp? No. Did you ever talk with Kaltenbrunner with reference and so on? Anyway, minute. Auschwitz. Okay, here they actually reference things that they spoke about. The final solution of the Jewish question meant the complete extermination of all Jews. This is what Rudolf Höss wrote down. The final solution of the Jewish question meant the complete extermination of all Jews in Europe. Look at this one more time. This here is directly read in the court to Rudolf Höss, and these are his words. The final solution of the Jewish question meant the complete extermination of all Jews in Europe. I was ordered to establish extermination facilities at Auschwitz in June 1941. At that time, there were already in the general government 3 other extermination camps, Belzec, Treblinka, and Wolzek. These camps were under the Einsatzkommando of the security police and SD. I visited Treblinka to find out how they carried out the exterminations. The camp commandant at Treblinka told me that he had liquidated 80,000 in the course of 1/2 year. He was principally concerned with liquidating all the Jews from the Warsaw Ghetto. He used monoxide gas, and I did not think that his methods were very efficient. So when I set up the extermination building at Auschwitz, I used Cyclone B, which was a crystallized prussic acid which we dropped into the death chamber from a small opening. It took from 3 to 15 minutes to kill the people in the chamber, depending upon climatic conditions. We knew when the people were dead because their screaming stopped. We usually waited about 1/2 hour before we opened the doors and removed the bodies. After the bodies were removed, our special commandos took off the rings and extracted the gold from the teeth of the corpses. Is that all true and correct, witness? Rudolf Höss says yes. What was done with the gold that was taken from their teeth? It was melted down and brought to the chief medical office of the SS Berlin. They were transferred over to the, I think, to the funds of the Nazi Reich, and so on.
I think it's cool that this questioning is done by Colonel Amen.
Amen.
That'd be terrifying, wouldn't it? You're judged by your trial is being conducted by Colonel Amen.
Yeah. Dave, what in the hell is wrong with you?
What about abortion? Where are your tears for that? Okay, let's talk about abortion. What about aliens? What about that?
Man. Another improvement we made over Treblinka was that we built our what's funny about this whole thing to me is that Rudolf
funny?
Höss is here talking about, oh wow, well, at that extermination camp over there, I don't really find their methods to kill people very efficient. So I think I'm going to set up my camp differently so that we can kill more people in a different fashion. You know, it's going to be more efficient here. It's like kind of like competition in who's going to make the best extermination camp and kill the most Jews. We built our gas chamber to accommodate 2,000 people at one time, whereas at Treblinka, there are 10 gas chambers only accommodated 200 people each. The way we selected our victims was as follows. We had 2 SS doctors on duty at Auschwitz to examine the incoming transport of prisoners. The prisoners would be marched by one of the doctors who would make spot decisions as they walked by. Those who were fit for work were sent into the camp. Others were sent immediately to the extermination plants. Children of tender years were invariably exterminated, since by reason of their youth they were unable to work. You want to talk about abortion? How about this?
But what about something else? Why are you talking about this when you could be talking about something else?
Still another improvement we made over Treblinka was that at Treblinka the victims almost always knew that they were to be exterminated, and at Auschwitz we endeavored to fool the victims into thinking that they were to go through a delousing process. Of course, frequently they it's so messed up because despite, so we have this on record since 1945. We have this on record since then that these guys deliberately set up a system where the victims would be fooled into thinking that they're going to go into a delousing process, but they would actually be gassed and killed. And you have people in today's time, in 2025, saying, "Oh no, actually the camps were just used for delousing. This is propaganda." I saw Nick Fuentes argue that even just like last year, for example. These people are sick and evil. Nick Fuentes is sick and evil. The Holocaust denying, genocide denying Nazi loving revisionist people are sick and evil.
But as long as I talk like this the entire time I'm saying it, there is a class of people in the world who believe everything I say. Because somehow talking like this, they're just fans of it. So they go ahead and believe anything I say.
In fact, there was a very funny confrontation between David Irving, who is a massive Holocaust denier, and who is so disgraced, and he still has people listening to him. There was a trial between him and what's her name, Lipstadt. What's her name again, man? I keep forgetting that. I'm terrible with names. I have this thing called what's that? Episodic memory, a weakness. I remember everything about a certain thing, but I always forget the names and the dates and the numbers. So during this trial here, where David Irving actually claimed that that Lipstadt defamed him by saying that he denies the Holocaust and that he spreads lies and so on, they went to trial. During the trial, he brought up the excuse. This bastard brought up the excuse that these so-called the so-called gas chambers were just delousing facilities and so on. He was humiliated in front of the courts, in front of the judges, when they brought up a very, very simple piece of evidence, which was in Auschwitz there were delousing facilities, and then there were the gas chambers. The delousing facilities looked like they served the proper purpose of delousing facilities. The gas chambers, however, were far away from those places and had extremely excessive traces of cyclone B, which far exceed any any normal delousing process. They are stained. There would be no use in having cyclone B in such massive amounts in these places. By confirming that the number of poisonous gas significantly exceeded any necessity for them at the facilities, and that specifically those gas chambers had extreme amounts which significantly exceeded the amounts used in actual delousing facilities, was clear evidence that these places, these gas chambers, were not used for delousing. They were actually used for killing people. Also supported by many reports, many amounts of the Nazis ordering massive amounts of Cyclone B to these facilities, which they would never need for delousing processes. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then there was another piece of evidence, which is that they would put people who are sick with typhus and other things through these delousing processes before they would take them out to cremate them. And the idea was, why in the world would they put them through the delousing process if they're going to eventually cremate them? It doesn't even make sense. And so on. There's just so much about this. So David Irving and other Nazi fans like this want to disregard everything that the Nazis themselves told us, not because they actually believe that the Holocaust didn't happen, but because they are sick bastards who agree with the Holocaust and who want to defend the Holocaust and who want to defend their Nazis, and who don't actually have a problem with the eradication of Jews in Europe, but who just want to play cover for their Nazi mass murderers. That's what they do. The Nazis themselves have admitted to wanting to kill all the Jews in Europe. They don't really have a problem with eradicating the Jews. They just don't want to acknowledge that it actually happened. Children of tender years were invariably exterminated, since by reason of their youth they were unable to work. Still, another improvement we made over Treblinka was that at Treblinka the victims almost always knew that they were going to be exterminated. We endeavored to fool the victims. Of course, frequently they realized our true intentions, and we sometimes had riots and difficulties due to that fact. Very frequently, women would hide their children under their clothes, but of course, when we found them, we would send the children in to be exterminated. We were required to carry out these extermination in secrecy, but of course the foul and nauseating stench from the continuous burning of bodies permeated the entire area, and all of the people living in the surrounding communities knew that exterminations were going on at Auschwitz. Is that all true and correct, witness? Hus says yes. So according to him, even the people surrounding these camps knew that there were exterminations going on.
Everyone except the gropers.
Except the gropers.
Yeah, they don't know. They still don't know.
Of course, they were kind of there were rumors going around, and they were suppressing the rumors by telling people different things like that. These are extreme measures for certain people who are extremely problematic and who need to be gotten rid of, and so on. There is a disease outbreak, which is why there is excessive burning and so on. But rumors were going around outside the camps and inside the camps. I recommended this book before, but I would always recommend reading this. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who himself is a Holocaust survivor. Brings you really, really, really close inside the head of somebody who is inside a concentration camp, an extermination camp, and who is aware that people are being killed. Because according to his account, for example, the people inside weren't always completely aware that there are exterminations going on, but it was kind of a general thought that, our friends are disappearing. We are told that they are leaving and going to a different camp, but then whenever masses leave, there is always this giant smell, and where are they exactly going? And we never hear of them anymore, and so on. And why are they only sent away once they are unable to work here, and so on? So the people became aware over time that, of course, they're being exterminated, and soon their time will come as well, once they lose their use. Anyway, in these texts, you can find everything that the Nazis themselves admit.
Yeah.
By Rudolf Höss and Eichmann. Yes, what?
Little side note, as far as people are being relentlessly stupid. We have to be relentless in responding to their stupidity, because they do dupe stupid people. Now, it's the fault of stupid people that they fall for this, but sometimes it's all they hear, and so we need easy access to information. So, as far as a video is concerned, basically, a couple little clips or tweets from some of the groper-minded people in Dan Bilzerian, followed by what the numbers actually are and where they come from and so on, followed by showing that the numbers that are actually used are actually estimates of more accurate estimates that go against the more inflated and exaggerated numbers by the Germans who carried out these attacks. And so the Germans were the ones who are exaggerating them. And then a couple of quotations from these transcripts where they admit what they did, something like that in a 10 to 12 minute video. And then with a title like, when someone denies the Holocaust, show them this. Boom, man. You just put it in everyone's hand. And then in the description box, links to all the various resources where people can check it out themselves. That would be very helpful, AP, for all these people. And then everyone out there can all do it for you, as far as sharing it and going around to every idiot who posts or denies something and so on.
I shall do so. I shall set up a short video that I can also cut into pieces to explain to everyone what in the world, because there's this one thing which is which I find very weird, especially in today's time where people rely very much on shorter videos, on bite-sized stuff, because not everybody has time. I find it extremely hard to come across proper videos that people can take in very quickly, in which all the evidence for the Holocaust is properly presented. The evidence for the Holocaust is massive, absolutely massive, abundant. But I guess because of the fact that it is all so big, laid out in thousands and thousands of pages of paper and photos and so on. Those people who are generally dealing with this kind of stuff don't really bother putting them into proper videos that appeal to the general population today. So I guess it's people like us who have to do that kind of stuff. That's what we do. Here is a study which will say, after the first trial ended in October 1946, the United States held 12 other trials at Nuremberg under the authority of the International Military Tribunal. Among those brought to trial were 26 top military leaders, 56 high-ranking SS and other police officers, and so on, 23 doctors who participated in Nazi medical killing programs.
Wait, isn't that the one that Candace says is made up?
Yeah, fake, she says.
It doesn't make any sense that they would be performing these experiments. So come on, this is just propaganda.
14 officials of other Nazi organizations had engaged in racial persecution. Few defendants at any of the trials denied the accusations made against them, and often their own testimony was used to convict them. Otto Ohlendorf, the former commandant of Einsatzgruppe D, was sentenced to death for the murder of about 90,000 Jews, Roma, Sinti, after admitting that he had ordered his men to kill children as well as adults. His defense was simple. He was just following orders.
Wait. Not, hey, no, Jews are lying. I didn't do any of this stuff.
No, he was
not.
Just
This is a conspiracy. People are making this stuff up. It's yes, I killed them, and it's because I was ordered to do so. That's the defense. Not, hey, what are you talking about? I didn't kill anybody. What are you talking about? Stop lying. It's weird, man. It's weird because, guys, I just want to be clear. If what the Gropers and Dan Bilzerian and all these guys are saying, that these things didn't happen or that they're so massively exaggerated, that's what you should be seeing at the trials. You should be saying, did you kill all these people? How many was it? Was it millions? What are you talking about? It's like 20,000 people died because of a disease that was spreading in the camp, and we had to burn the bodies to keep the disease from spreading. That's it. That's what we did, man. It was just it's just a work camp. What's your That would have been the defense. Instead, it's, yes, we killed him. We're ordered to. What do you want me to do? I'd have been tried for treason if I said no.
There is a thing that was dominant in Nazi Germany, which would be very, very interesting to always figure out and have a look at to further understand what in the world made these people just follow whatever order they were given. That was called the Führer principle, the Führerprinzip, the leader principle. The idea was that the Führer, the leader, is always right, no matter what. It was literally
Islam.
Yeah. It was like a worship of the dictator, of Hitler. Der Führer hat immer recht. The Führer is always right. This is directly from the NSDAP, from the Nazi Party, 1941, and this was considered in Nazi Germany a foundational principle of the Nazi Party and of Nazi Germany, that the Führer is always right. It's not up to you, imbeciles, to decide what should be done and what shouldn't be done. It is up to the Führer to decide what should be done and shouldn't be done. For you, you are only supposed to follow orders. That's it. That's it.
No, the Jews made this up.
Here you have, his defense was simple.
AP hat immer recht.
Yeah, he was just following orders. Another defendant, Rudolf Höss, the commandant at Auschwitz, used the same defense. He explained, don't you see, we SS men were not supposed to think about these things. It never even occurred to us. We were all so trained to obey orders without even thinking that the thought of disobeying an order would simply never have occurred to anybody. And somebody else would have done just as well if I hadn't. I really never gave much thought to whether it was wrong. It just seemed a necessity.
By the way, that aspect of psychology has been confirmed in multiple. You remember the experiment where they actually they bring someone in for a test, and you're supposed to give them a shock if they get a wrong answer and so on. And then you keep increasing the shock, and you're just told, push the button, shock them more until you're torturing that. You're actually torturing them. And now keep in mind, you're not actually torturing anyone. It's an actor it's an actor that you hear screaming in there, but they'll just say, nope, you got the wrong answer. Push it. No, shock him. and you eventually shock the person until the person you hear, again, who's an actor, passes out from the shock and the pain, and the other person is going, nope, shock them again, shock them again. Most people will continue following the order, like actually torturing. And keep in mind, it's a guy and a little experiment that you signed up for, and you're like, you think you've shocked a person, torturing the person unconscious, and you're still just, well, I'm being told to do this. Okay. Nope. Someone over me told me to do this. Okay. So yes, that's and that experiment has been redone over and over again in places around the world. But yep,
Yeah.
most people will just follow orders, even if
The
it's
Milgram
torturing people.
experiment. Milgram experiment. So here's how it's laid out. The experimenter, which is this, orders the teacher here, the subject of the experiment, to give what the teacher believes are painful electric shocks to a learner, L over here. He takes the L. Like this.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving. If you're going to do that, I'm leaving. I can't take it on. This is why you deserve to die, like I said.
But L is actually an actor and Confederate. The subject is led to believe that for each wrong answer, the learner was receiving actual electric shocks, though in reality, there were no such punishments. Being separated from the subject, the Confederates set up a tape recorder integrated with an electroshock generator, which played pre-recorded sounds for each shock level. So this guy here sits and takes orders from this guy to who asks this guy questions. Whenever this guy gets the answer wrong, this guy orders this guy to give this guy an electric shock, and the electric shock level increases. And the subjects here, the ignorant guy who is here, many of them become increasingly weirded out and uncomfortable, but they just keep going.
And you can see that down there at the bottom of the page, the experiments unexpectedly found that a very high proportion of subjects would fully obey the instructions, with every participant going up to 300 volts. So every single person is willing to go up there. 65% going up to the full 450 volts. That's when people are like passing. You think the person is like passing out from the pain and still giving them the shocks and so on. Most people. So for everyone out there, I would have never taken part of that. Studies show chances are you would have done exactly as you were told, just like these other guys.
Yeah. It's really messed up, man. This was kind of a shocking study in psychology.
That's pretty messed up.
And is used to this day in psychology studies to understand what in the world humans are capable of and what they do and why they do these things.
It's interesting that they actually brings the Germans into it right there below that.
Yeah. The experiments began on August 7, 1961 in the basement of Lindsay Chittenden Hall at Yale University, 3 months after the start of the trial of German Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann in Jerusalem. Milgram devised his psychological study to explain the psychology of genocide and answer the popular contemporary question, could it be that Eichmann and his million accomplices in the Holocaust were just following orders? Could we call them all accomplices? And so on. While the experiment itself was repeated many times around the globe with fairly consistent results, both its interpretations as well as its applicability to the Holocaust are disputed.
Yeah, they say with consistent results, meaning you always get somewhere between like 60 and 70% of people are willing to follow orders, even including like torturing people until they're unconscious.
If at any time the teacher indicates a desire to halt the experiment, the experimenter was instructed to give specific verbal prods. The prods were in this order: please continue, or please go on. The experiment requires that you continue. It is absolutely essential that you continue. You have no other choice. You must go on. And most of the people...
Okay, well, if you say so, then there's no way I can stop torturing this guy.
All right, man.
Okay. I said I wasn't comfortable, but I mean, if I have to go on torturing this guy, I have to.
And these people are not having guns, held to their heads. They're just doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, keep in mind, they're volunteering for an experiment and so on. They're doing it. This isn't like they're going to be dragged out and shot if they don't do it or something. They're just being told, yeah, keep torturing this guy.
And similar, by the way, here it says about the Germans, about the Nazis, Germans were not forced to be killers. Those who refused to participate were given other assignments or transferred. To this day, no one has found an example of a German who was executed for refusing to take part in the killing of Jews or other civilians. Defense attorneys of people accused of war crimes have looked hard for such a cause because it would support the claim that their clients had no choice. The Nazi system, however, did not work that way. There were enough willing perpetrators so that coercive force could be reserved for those deemed enemies. Very, very, very messed up. Here you have Ohlendorf. What does he do? Does he talk about the million? No, he talks about killing. He talks about the killing. Liquidation. Oh yeah, he was in charge of having of an Einsatzkommando which killed 90,000 people. He admitted to that and also gave the whole explanation. Well, this was my mission. That's what I wanted. That's what I did. Man. Why are you asking me why I did it? I was just following orders. That's what we do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Yeah, you have that, and then you have another piece of evidence, which is something very, 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 very elaborate, actually. Something very, very elaborate. However, before we come to that, let me take a few super chats here. Definitely not MBS said, funny how no Nazis in Nuremberg trial denied it. Well, they were all scared.
They'd all been tortured by the Jews into lying and saying they did these things. They had their balls crushed inside out. The Jews crushed their balls.
The funny thing is, it wasn't Jews who were in charge of the trials. Yeah, so, yeah. Beelzebub is mad about his botched plastic surgery. I don't know what's wrong with his head. More importantly, what's with the hair?
There's something going on with his face and eyes and stuff like that. Yeah, his hair, that's just very poor choice of haircuts. But yeah, the rest of the face, something's going on. It looks like plastic surgery or something like that.
Something's going on. We just
Like,
don't know what it is.
I don't get it. Andrew Tate said him and Tristan could do the plastic surgery on me if I just brought some stuff. But yeah, that's what they came up with.
That's what they do. That's what they do. Eunuch Petsu says, Jibril told about Holocaust. That's the proof, you see.
It's true.
That's true. Beelzebub is mad. Apostate of Allah. What's up, Apostate of Allah? You made a great video. I watched it. I guess I'm listening to you guys while I'm doing homework. It's a summary on the first chapters of theology for the people of God, humanity. You, AP, should read it. I think you'd be interested. I should.
AP doesn't read.
I don't read anything. Why would I read anything? Andrew Tate said reading is gay and it's for losers. So, Alasura de Mexico said, we are well, nice knowing you guys. Mexican cartel shoot at border patrol. I saw news of that earlier, that the cartel shot at federal agents and there were calls to send in the military or something.
Yeah, I don't think anyone actually got shot. But yeah, there was an exchange of gunfire or something like that. But I think that by executive order, Trump labeled the cartels like foreign terrorist organizations now, in which case that's bad guys, because now they can just bomb the crap out of you and say, yeah, you're terrorists.
And the funny thing is, it would also give them a reason to go beyond U.S. borders to operate, to fire back at them inside Mexico.
Yeah, it's we mentioned this before. It's similar to Pakistan, right? U.S. went right into Pakistan, took out Osama bin Laden. Why? Terrorist. We don't care about your border to get a terrorist.
What border? Shake what your mama gave you. Says the venerable shake your booty. May you never stop shaking. It brings all the goats to the yard. Powerful. Giovanni Zanini, AP, if the 8,000 deal is still up, send it to Gazan Christians. What Gazan Christians? There are no Gazan Christians. There are maybe 2 or 3.
Hey! That should be that should be how James sweetens the pot, right? Says, hey, so guys, if you weren't paying attention, James said, that he has a donor willing to pay $8,000 if Muhammad Hijab will debate AP. And then Hijab said, no, I will never do that. I don't care about the money. And then James said, well, the donor has said he'll give it to the Palestinians. He'll give it to the Palestinians if you debate. And so I posted, apparently Muhammad Hijab doesn't care about the Palestinians after all, and so on. But here's what James should say to sweeten the pot even more. Okay, here's the deal, Muhammad Hijab. If you debate AP on Was Muhammad a Prophet, I will give the Palestinians $8,000. If you do not debate him, I will send the $8,000 directly to the IDF. That's how you do it. Straight to the IDF. And then if Hijab refuses to debate, he's actually funding the IDF. Oh my goodness. Is he seriously going to do that?
Yeah. Israel started the Vietnam War. That's true. Israel also started the Korean War and also eradicated the dinosaurs. Did you see this, by the way, earlier? Modern Debate posted, "Hi, Farid. I'm not sure if you got my DM invite to debate Apostate Prophet on whether Muhammad is a true prophet at DebateCon 5 in New York. A fan of AP said they would be willing to offer a $5,000 honorarium for your time." Why would anybody want to pay $5,000 to Farid?
And isn't it funny? That's like a lot of money, man. That $5,000 to go, but it's like they're doing the math in their head. It's like, wow, I get $5,000, but I'll go down in history as the guy who helped destroy Islam by giving AP the opportunity to completely humiliate and expose my fake prophet. Oh, it's hard. This is how you'd catch a grifter, though, because a grifter will say $5,000. Yeah, make fun of Muhammad all you want, and I don't care if you destroy him. But unless they're like smart grifters, in which case they understand long term, $5,000 is not worth going down in history as the ultimate Dawah fail, and because then you lose your income for the future from all the Dawah fans.
Who will pay me to debate Farid? I don't know. So it's just maybe we can split it.
I'll give you $50 to debate Farid, but we all know you could offer Farid $1 million. He's not going to take it. Farid actually cares about his fake prophet, and so he would never allow him to be humiliated on stage. He'll just continue lying about him in his own videos.
Powerful. And did you know that recently Andrew Wilson started attacking me on Twitter?
What? Why is he attacking you?
Wait, what was that? Andrew Wilson. He attacked me, because he said, how about I debate Apostate Prophet?
On what? What's he want to debate you on? Israel or something?
No, it's something like wait, what was that? Over my be nice Christianity attitude. I'm like, what are you talking about?
What the heck is he talking about? What be nice Christian? One, you're not a Christian. Two, what be nice? You're brutal, man.
On the contrary, I think Christians are too nice. Like, what's wrong with you? Here, I'll debate Apostate Prophet on his stupid be nice Christianity crypto feminism for 7,000 G.
What the heck is he babbling about? We're gonna have to roll up on him at a DebateCon and be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what's happened? What's wrong with you, man? I said, what be nice Christianity as if I'm nice. He said, then why are you always crying about how mean I am to the poor defenseless feminist monsters? It's like, there were maybe one or two times that he came up and that I said that I think he's a jerk, right? That was when it was on your channel or something, and we talked about him. And I said,
yeah, and even there, I think we're like, if you want to do that, then that's up to you. But if you actually want to continue the debate, then it was something along those lines. That was a long time ago. But my goodness, is this guy still whining about this after all these years? Wait a minute, is this one of those dudes that can't handle the slightest bit of criticism? That's weird. Yeah, I said it, Andrew. If you're crying about something from years ago because AP's like, who back then liked Matt Dillahunty even more because he was still in his atheist mode, and then you're still whining about it.
It's just so funny. It's like, why are you always crying about how
oh my goodness, always.
Always.
Two years ago you said I was a jerk for this. Oh my goodness, I'm still all broken up about it. I mentioned
you like once or twice, and
why are you obsessed with me?
Apparently it was so hurtful to him that I called him a jerk or something like that.
And AP back then, where you were still an atheist and a fan of Matt Dillahunty, and was on the Atheist Experience and so on. Was that your feel goody Christian, your feel goody Christianity coming through?
Totally. I
What
also,
planet is this dude from, man?
I don't know why he would want to debate me, considering that I don't have, I'm not an OnlyFans model. I don't have big boobs that I put into everyone's face.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why Andrew Wilson would want to debate me, because it just doesn't make sense. Because look at this. If I search for Andrew Wilson, what do I get here? And don't you have OnlyFans models? Don't you have boobs to put on your thumbnails? I don't have boobs.
We're not interested in your no boobs, weak Christianity. Real Christianity is all about boobs in your face.
Hey, by the way, didn't we go through stuff where he's talking about Muhammad's 1.8 inches? We're like cracking up laughing.
I know.
And so on, and cheering for him and stuff.
I thought it was
saying how
hilarious.
hilarious it is. Oh yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Can't handle fragility here. It's just funny that he's blasting you like you're, oh my goodness, little weakling thing, and he's still whining about something from years ago because you're.
I mean, I do think he's a jerk. I do think he's a terrible person.
I just think now he's a crybaby, because if he's whining about stuff from my good, and Andrew, I'm saying this as someone who, like, people blast me all the time. Christians have been blasting me for years, saying I'm too mean. You, like, dude, you got to let that stuff go. You can't be like, oh my goodness, 3 years ago this guy said I go too far because I took a bite of the Quran. Oh my goodness, no, let's debate your little sniveling weakling version of Christianity because you said I was wrong for taking a bite out of the Quran. Oh.
And the thing is, I mean, honestly, I didn't want to say this, Andrew Wilson, but since you asked, you pretend to be against the whole degeneracy thing, but seriously, what would you have exactly without the degeneracy? I mean, as soon as an OnlyFans model or somebody goes around and talks about having sex with multiple people and talks about how porn is great, you are on the case and have them on your thumbnails and have a conversation with them. You sit there literally. If whatever podcast invited me, I would not go. I would not go. I don't care about how many followers they have. I don't care how many views they get. I don't care how many people are subscribed. I simply would not go. And the funny thing is, you should have a bigger problem, Andrew, with this than I do. You should have a whole traditionalist Christian no to OnlyFans models stuff than I do. I personally would not feel comfortable going into this room and talking about what is your body count and what do you rate me out of 10? Are you a 5? Are you a 6? Are you a mid? I mean, are you people retarded? Seriously, like what kind of stupid thing is this to concern yourself with? I mean, this is your whole shtick. You talk about how degeneracy is taking over. Degeneracy. You wouldn't have content without boobs, man.
Dude, I'm laughing because this is so hilarious. Because like overall, I liked Andrew Wilson just because he always comes up with something hilarious for a debate, and it inevitably gets derailed and so on. But now it just went to, oh my goodness, this is, and then we just dialed it up, and now and right now it's like he hasn't. It's like now you're just, you're messing with my buddy, so okay, I don't like you anymore. done. I don't like you. If you're a little crybaby. Oh my God, it's 17 years ago you said this one thing about me. No, give me money to pay you for your little weakling Christianity, even though you're an atheist talking about another atheist and so on. It's your weakling Christianity. Oh my goodness, dude.
And in all honesty,
you just went to the bottom of the barrel. But I don't care. Now you're on my list too, David Wood. D Wood does not care, sport. We deal with jihadis on a regular basis. You think we care about you crying?
And in all honesty, the one thing that I just recently saw, which just made me think, which just sealed the deal for me here when it comes to this guy, is the following here. So this woman, agree with her or not, I do not care one bit. Jennifer Greenberg, who is a Christian woman with a Jewish last name, because she's married, I think, to a Jewish guy. So she criticized Andrew Wilson and called him something like a Temu Andrew Tate or something like that. He then responded to her simply with some insults, and then just with her last name, Greenberg, which then led to his followers attacking her for being Jewish and saying things like "go back to the oven" and things like that. You guys are scumbags, man. I don't know what. Just if you are a bunch of scumbags, at least don't have a problem with being called scumbags.
You say that was Andrew Wilson?
Yes.
All right, Andrew Wilson. You drew first blood, but AP said years ago in this world. Yeah, and the fact that you're blasting him for his Christianity, dude, you're a joke, man.
It's not even anti-Semitism at this point. They're attacking a Jewish woman, a Christian woman, a Christian woman because she has a Jewish last name. The woman says, "I believe in Jesus who died for our sins," and so on. And they're like, "We don't care. We don't care, Greenberg." These people are.
Yep, you just went into the loser heap, Andrew.
La 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 la. Have fun with your big boob OnlyFans models.
But I'm based. I'm the Christian Andrew Tate now.
It's like if I was disturbed that everyone is talking about OnlyFans models and porn and sex, would I really want to spend every single day talking about that kind of stuff? And
you see that? This is an agnostic talking to you, Andrew. It's an agnostic, ex-Muslim, ex-atheist asking you why you promote so much degeneracy in your videos. Shameful. Very shameful. Very shameful.
Very, very shameful. Very sick. You're sick. You're sick. Anyway, but anyway. What else? Where were we? Oh yeah, I was reading super chats, right? Okay. Mumu Joe, AP David Wood, please bring someone like Rabbi Daniel Rowe to explain Talmud. Saw him on JTV. Will be great to have a show similar to the one David Wood did with that Iran guy. Who is Daniel Rowe?
Don't know, but that is a good idea. Because there are, guys, I've said it before. There are messed up passages in the Talmud. Guess what? There are messed up things that lots of people say. There are messed up things that Christians have said over the centuries, like really messed up, calling for just killing Jews and burning down their synagogues and things like that. Do you, as a Christian today, want to be saddled with everything any Christian has? I'm talking about important Christians like Martin Luther and so on. Do you want to be saddled with anything any Christian has ever said? Yes. No, you don't. I'm talking not just any Christian leader or scholar or theologian or something like that. Do you want to be responsible for everything every Christian has ever said? No.
Yes.
Why do you do this with Jews? Why do you say Rabbi so-and-so in the 7th century said this, therefore Jews? Why do you do that? Why is there one group where that's acceptable to do?
This is one of my this is a funny thing to bring up because there are certain church fathers that are highly respected in Christianity, especially among Orthodoxy and Catholicism, taken as authorities. One of those recently came up in a debate that we had, like Chrysostom. Some of these people have said some really, 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 really messed up things in the past about Jews, long before there was any text ever in the Talmud about a figure named Yeshu, who was later by some interpreted to be Jesus. So long before anything happened, there were early church fathers who said some really, really messed up, some really vilifying, even violent things about Jews. But we hear all the time, "Oh, don't you know Jews hate Christians? Jews hate Christians. Look what it says here in this source over there," and so on. We don't have to do that. What if Jews came today and said, "Hey, Christians hate us. Just look at what their most respected church fathers have said about us." What if Jews started playing the same game? They would actually have proper strong evidence to go for. Cyril of Alexandria, Chrysostom, Origen, who else? Justin the Martyr, and so on. These people said some really, really messed up things about Jews. Some really messed up things about Jews. Do you really want to go there? I don't
And
think.
and here's the thing: if you find especially early Christians, if you said, "Look, this early Christian writer said this about Jews," the normal response to that would have been, "Well, hey, they're fresh out of being persecuted by Jews, right? Early on, when Christians are a tiny minority, there were Jews who persecuted Christians." And so you'd say, look, they're
Yes.
coming out of a situation where they're persecuted. Of course, they had a very negative attitude, and of course, they were saying mean things. But
Yes.
that same reason, after Christianity spread very rapidly and became way more powerful very quickly, but you're never supposed to say, "Hey, look, Jews are being persecuted by Christians during this time." Of course, they said mean things. Of course, they said mean things in their book about them. Of course, Rabbi so and so, who is in hiding in a cave from being persecuted, of course he's going to come out after a while and say some mean things. Of course, it's like there's one group for whom none of the standard rules apply, and everything's off the table. And anything the person has ever said, you can blast all Jews, and there's a conspiracy behind everything, and an evil intent behind everything, and so on. Wild stuff. Oh yeah, but as far as the Talmud and getting someone on, yeah. So there are messed up passages and so on, but it would be good to get one or two or something like that, actual scholars of Talmud to actually go through this and break this down, and even respond to the memes. That would be some fun stuff.
Powerful. No, the thing happened again. My comments are stuck. Okay, no, here. I'm done. That was a pain in the tuchus. Yiddish tuchus for butt. Okay, that's cool. See, you're not an ex-Muslim, you're a Jew. See, the Brooklyn Jews are still controlling my brain even after 10 years of being gone. You see, this is proof that you're secretly Jewish. Divine mercy, even if the numbers of Jews killed was lower, it still proves that they hate Jews. Are people really that stupid? Yes, they are. They are stupid. They not only hate the Jew. This is only one of those things. This is also one of those things that I find really messed up. And lots of people have done this over the years, where people say, this is how Nazi Germany began. Nazis didn't just start by, with the intention to kill the Jews. It happened over time. And if we allow this and this to happen, then this will lead to... No, it's not really like that. The Nazis were very clear, very early on, about their intent to hate and remove the Jews in one way or another. Hitler, very early on, in his book Mein Kampf, and long before that, was quite clear that Jews have to go in some way or another. They have to go. And one of the solutions presented was always the extermination of them, which they weren't quite explicit about, but which became quite explicit later on. And their goal was to eradicate all of them. If they now killed 6 million or 5.9 million, it's quite besides the point.
Hey, look at this. Look. Wade Davies, your buddy here.
Stop the persecution of Christians in Israel.
Yeah, I was there. They beat me up. Every day. Beat me up and spit on me every day. Thank you, Wade, for condemning the persecution of me when I was there. I mean, there I was wearing my cross, right underground outside the Temple Mount at Michael Rappaport's bar mitzvah with like 40 or 50 IDF soldiers around me. And I'm sitting there, and man, they were just they all just turned around and started spitting on me. It was awful. It was horrible, man. Thank you for calling that out.
You were walking through the place adjacent to the Western Wall where they study the Torah with your cross on.
Yeah, I know. I walked right. I walked up in there. I was like, "Wait, am I supposed to be in here?" There's this room beside the Temple Mount where they actually copy the Torah scrolls and stuff like that. I don't know if like anyone is just allowed to walk up in there. But I walked up in there. I'm sitting there with my cross. I'm like, "Uh-oh, am I supposed to?"
I think you can walk in there, but I think normally by Jewish rule, you're not supposed to have any symbols belonging to any other religion in places like that.
Yeah.
But you just walked through it. It's like nobody's even said anything, so it's kind of funny.
Oh, they all kind of turned around and looked at me and stuff like this, and then they went back to their Torah and stuff.
That's funny. This is very ironic because
God used Israel to save man.
Earlier today, I just came across this thing, which I thought I should review this. Israel saved this former Muslim's life. Now he's returned the favor. This is a guy. Majid el-Shafi, who is from Egypt. He's a Christian, and he is currently publishing a film documenting the massacre of October 7. He has an organization which is where he wants to basically repay Israel for saving his life and being good to Christians. And this guy was, so he leaves Islam in Egypt. He's sentenced to death. He takes a jet ski and goes over to Israel to seek refuge, where he's then given protection and assurances and so on, and starts living there. Then goes from there to Canada and all that. And right now he's working. I think he finished and is publishing a documentary about October 7. But here's a Christian talking about Israel.
Hey, you know what? If you heard if you told one of the Groypers, hey, here's a guy who's thanking Israel for saving his life and so on, he's a Christian, they'd be like, oh yes, he was probably on fire and was in Israel and said, hey, I'm a Christian. So they all started spitting on him and it put out the fire. It put out the fire, and he's thankful. He doesn't realize they were just spitting on him because they hate Christians. That's what lunatics these guys are.
Shmuley versus Wade, that'll be fine. It came to my attention that there is not a single Jew out there who likes Rabbi Shmuley, so it's kind of funny. Sivakwa, didn't Hitler say conscience was a Jewish invention? I think this is the root of anti-Semitism. Jews introduced moral accountability to humanity. This is funny. This was one of Nietzsche's things, that the Zoroastrians and then the Jews were the ones who burdened us with this whole scourge of having this right and wrong morality.
I think it's Zarathustrians.
Yes. And the Christians adopted this pathetic slave morality, as he said, as Nietzsche said. There was a time that I was really, really fascinated with Nietzsche because of his assessment of morality and slave morality and all that. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, Hitler did say similar things. He also accused them of manipulating Europeans to feel guilty about things.
Hey,
basically,
AP.
Stuff that the church teaches. What?
AP, here.
What? AP and or Daily Wire.
About?
Can you please take a look at the Aschaffenburg funeral with an imam showing up using the twisted quote from 532 while printing 533 below? No.
You know what that funeral's about?
There was recently a thing there.
That might be good for a little
an attack.
The AP, that's the sort of thing that it would be like a quick little easy video, even if it's just for X or something like that. But look, he said this. Hey, here's what 533 says. Da 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 da.
An ecumenical memorial, sir. You know, ecumenical used to mean not Muslims. An ecumenical memorial service. Memorial service held in Germany following Aschaffenburg attack. Let me see. I need to read upon this. I don't know much about it. I don't know much about it. I heard that there was an attack. I didn't know much about the details, but have to check that out. Thank you, Hans Wurst. Abraham Harp says, recently did a video on our channel about the sexual perversion of Momo the homo, where usually we would receive a backlash from the Mohammed people. This time we did not. People are in the know. People are waking up. People are also waking up to the fact that, for example, that Kenneth Owens is a man.
Well, alleged man.
It's proven already.
Alleged. It's alleged. It's allegedly proven.
Those who don't know, Kenneth Owens is apparently trans, which, of course, I'm only asking questions, by the way. But Kenneth Owens is apparently trans, and this is based on it is based on pieces of evidence that I can also bring up here, like, very easily. So I actually broke the news, but the media is still hiding it. They're denying it.
You're hiding, boy. You're hiding.
But so I posted about this. I posted how there is evidence that Kenneth Owens is trans. As you can see, 5.8 thousand people liked this. Nearly 400,000 people saw it. which means that it is probably true. And she hasn't denied it until now, which only further proves that it might be true.
And the media refuse to talk about this. They
Yes.
refuse. They're terrified, which means she probably has something on them, some way of controlling them, which probably means that she has some sort of sex cult, and she gets journalists to come over and be part of her sex cult while she records them. And then if they ever try to expose her for the evidence that she is actually a man, then she threatens them and says, hey, I'll release these tapes of all of you banging this drunk child.
Here's the evidence. See, no community note. She hasn't denied it. And they call me names, but they don't call me a liar. So this just proves one more time that she's actually trans.
Doesn't get more airtight than that.
Also, the fact that she was pregnant allegedly in the past only shows that she's faking a pregnancy to cover it up.
Yeah, have we seen the ultrasound like while it's being performed and not just some picture of it or something like that? I mean, come on.
Exactly. I mean, were we there when she gave birth? I
Nope.
wasn't there when she gave birth.
Nope.
I didn't see any photos of her body naked. I didn't see any of these things. So how would I know?
Yeah, what evidence have you actually been given? Her saying it. Is
What
Candace Owens saying something conclusive proof? My goodness, people are stupid.
Why doesn't she show her penis, for example? No. So, anyway, so that's that. Totally unrelated to the topic, though. So, Philip Daniel, in summer 1943, Himmel told Mufti Ryan Gosling, you mean Himmler, yes, that 3 million Jews had thus far been unalived. This influenced the Mufti's November 1943 radio address. Himmler did have some interesting conversations with Ryan Gosling. Himmler and the Mufti, Grand Mufti. Yes. These are the things everyone should know. He did not only meet Hitler, he also met the Grand Mufti. Right here. Here is Ryan Gosling meeting the Grand Mufti. Here's Ryan Gosling, Grand Mufti Ryan Gosling, Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, leader of the Palestinian Arabs, meeting Heinrich Himmler, who was the darling of Hitler himself. The darling of Hitler himself. My darling, my darling. My darling. In fact, speaking of Himmler, there is actually a very, very interesting video which I want to bring up here. Let's see. Let us see. Here we have a recording of Heinrich Himmler. Reichsführer Heinrich Himmler, the second most powerful man in Nazi Germany, speaks to SS officers for 3 hours in a secret meeting. Himmler's recording survived the war. It is now in the National Archives in College Park, Maryland. What you are hearing has not been edited.
Wenn wir es auch am Schluss des Krieges aufrechnen können, dartun können, eine sehenswerte und beachtliche Leistung sein. Ich will auch ein ganz schweres Kapitel, will ich hier vor Ihnen in aller Offenheit nennen. Es soll zwischen uns ausgesprochen sein, und trotzdem werden wir nicht in der Öffentlichkeit nie darüber reden. Genauso wenig, wie wir am 30. Juni gezögert haben, die befohlene Pflicht zu tun und Kameraden, die sich verfehlt hatten, an die Wand zu stellen und zu erschießen. Wie wir darüber niemals gesprochen haben und sprechen werden. Das war so eine Gott sei Dank in uns wohnende Takt. Selbstverständlichkeit des Taktes. Dass wir uns untereinander nie darüber unterhalten haben. Nie darüber sprachen. Es hat jedem geschaut. Jeder war sich klar.
This guy was so freaking verbose, man. Could just get to the point.
Gott sei Dank in uns wohnende Takt, Selbstverständlichkeit des Taktes, dass wir uns untereinander nie darüber unterhalten haben, nie darüber sprachen. Es hat jeden geschauert und jeder war sich klar, dass es das nächste Mal wieder tun würde, wenn es befohlen wird und wenn es notwendig ist. Ich meine die Judenevakuierung, die Ausrottung des jüdischen Volkes.
There it is. I mean the Jewish evacuation, or I'm talking about the Jewish evacuation, the extermination of the Jewish people. This is Heinrich Himmler. It's not Hitler. This is Heinrich Himmler. He sounds like Hitler a little bit because they all look up to Hitler, but this is Heinrich Himmler. He says the evacuation, by which I mean the extermination of the Jewish people.
Es gehört zu den Dingen, die man leicht ausspricht. Das jüdische Volk wird ausgerottet. Das sagt Ihnen jede Parteigenosse. Ganz klar, steht in unserem Programm drin. Ausschaltung der Juden.
What he says here is very, very, very interesting. It is one thing that is very easily said. The Jewish people are to be exterminated. Every party member will tell you perfectly clear, it's part of our plans. We are eliminating the Jews.
Ausrottung machen wir, Kleinigkeit. Und dann kommen sie alle die braven 80 Millionen Deutschen, jeder hat seinen anständigen Juden, sagt, alle anderen sind Schweine. Der ist ein prima Jude.
Then he jokes about how, of course, suddenly then Germans come up and say, well, everyone has his decent Jew. Like, this one is good, but the others are pigs. But this one is a very, very good Jew. So how about we don't kill this one?
He wanted the good ones.
Yeah.
Zugesehen, es durchgestanden hat keiner. Von euch werden die meisten wissen, was es heißt, wenn 100 Leichen beisammen liegen. Wenn 500 da liegen oder wenn 1000 da liegen. Und dies durchgehalten zu haben und dabei, abgesehen von menschlichen Ausnahmeschwächen, anständig geblieben zu sein, hat uns hart gemacht und ist ein niemals genanntes und niemals zu nennendes Ruhmesblatt.
This guy should have really left the speaking to Hitler. So, we still had Jews as secret saboteurs, agitators, and so on. If the Jews still resided in the body of the German people, and so on, we have taken away the riches that they had, and I have given a strict order which Obergruppenführer Pohl has carried out. We have delivered these riches completely to the Reich, to the state. We have so anyway, number of SS men have offended against this order. There are not very many. They will be dead men without mercy. We have the moral right, we have the duty to our people to do it, to kill this people, the Jews, who would kill us. Of course, that's always the excuse. But we do not have the right to enrich ourselves with even one fur, with one mark, with one cigarette, with one watch, with anything. That we do not have. Well, how noble. How noble! Because at the end of this, we don't want, because we exterminated the bacillus, to become sick and die from the same bacillus. The funny thing is here, of course, that this is not something noble, because everything just goes to the state instead of taking it personally. I will never see it happen that even one bit of the putrefaction comes in contact with us or takes roots in us. On the contrary, where it might try to take root, we will burn it out altogether, and so on. We have carried out this most difficult task for the love of our people, and we have taken no defect within us, in our soul, or in our character. This is Heinrich Himmler speaking to his Nazi personnel, and basically saying, some of you might find this a little bit difficult. Some of you might find this weird. Some of you might want to protect one or two Jews and say, "Oh, he's a good one. He's a good one. Don't kill that one. He's a good one." You don't. We kill them all. We eradicated them all, and we don't take their belongings. All of those are packed and sent to the state. That's what we do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
I forgot where this recording is from, but this is one of those pieces of evidence of Heinrich Himmler himself
Hold on.
acknowledging and explicitly talking about it.
Just so you know, speaking of pieces of evidence, I sent you an extra piece of evidence in the private chat. But
What evidence? What evidence, man?
some powerful evidence.
What evidence?
Powerful evidence. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh. That's interesting.
The case cracker.
Yeah, this is... Here's a photo directly from of Kenneth Owens
Mm-hmm.
as a trans man. See? See? Powerful, powerful.
Don't know what further proof anyone needs, but
Powerful, powerful. Powerful. Now, there are lots of other pieces of evidence, and David of course, has the good idea, which I already had before David gave me the idea, to put all of this together into a proper video. However, there is another piece of evidence which I would recommend looking into, which is a very significant piece of evidence, and that would be the Hall of Names. The Hall of Names at the Yad Vashem, which is a hall full of names, all documented, all leading back to verifiable people. This is from the Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center in Jerusalem, which contains the names of... the aim was to fulfill its mandate to preserve the memory of the 6 million Jews murdered in the Holocaust. I think at this moment they have the complete names and verified identities of 4.9 million people to this point. And they are still adding names and confirmed figures found to the hall here. But this place has evidence, very solid evidence for 5 million people that were eradicated in the Holocaust. And there are still lots of people who are kind of lost, without trace, and so on. This is another piece of evidence. But yeah, there's a lot. We need to put all of this together into a good format to view everything. But hey, the Nazis said it all. They admitted everything. They admitted their plans quite openly and quite explicitly. And yet we have bastards dying. Ground level theology. Aiden sees this Holocaust data. It's problematic. I need to upload that debate on my channel. Steph as Am Israel Chai. We won't ever let it to be hidden by lies. Couldn't say it. YouTube doesn't cooperate. Powerful. Thank you, Steph S. Thank you. That Jewish ex-spy in the chat said, will you be appearing on Irfan Petzi's channel live stream again for your Germany visit? Thanks for the content. Yes, I will. I'm going to Germany. I will visit Germany, and I will also... I will actually go and work together with Irfan Petzi directly there while in Germany. We'll spend some time with him and have some collaborations with him right there. And also meet some other people, some politicians, and all that. It's going to be an interesting time. Going to meet some AfD politicians and other politicians as well. People who spread this Jew-hating lies are mental. They are. They're sick. They're very, very sick. Where's my button?
You're sick. You're sick.
Thump. Sheikh Mohammed Abul Huda al-Yaqubi told me the Holocaust isn't true. You see, this is powerful proof. The cat lady, Jews worldwide, millions. Powerful. Yossi Kenner, what's up, Yossi? The Talmud says also that a Torah scholar who has a stain on their clothing is also liable for death. Shabbat 114a. Obviously, this is hyperbolic. Yeah, the Torah, the Talmud uses. In fact, the Talmud argues that the Torah itself uses lots of statements such as "shall be put to death," not to mean that you should actually execute them, but that they are deserving of death in a very hyperbolic way, and so on. Do you agree with that, David, or no?
Yeah, and it's you can even kind of see it in the text because you have The basic idea was even for things where they're saying there's a death sentence that you would pay a ransom. Okay, you did this. Now you're under a death sentence until you pay your ransom. You can kind of see this because when it talks about the penalty for capital murder, you've actually deliberately murdered someone. It says, but for this offense, do not accept a ransom. The implication being that for other things you can accept a ransom, but a ransom payment, but not for that one.
I wanted to bring up this quote earlier, but I just remembered this. This is actually a very, very interesting quote by Eisenhower himself, by Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight Eisenhower is on record for saying this phrase, which you can also find in Holocaust museums. Get it all on record now. Get the films, get the witnesses, because somewhere down the road of history, some bastard will get up and say that this never happened. This is what he said when he visited Germany and Poland, I think, and the concentration, the massacre sites, and instructed to get recordings of everything as much as possible. The one thing that kind of is mind-boggling to me is, David, when we went to the Holocaust Museum, for example, many of the photos and videos that we saw there are things that I never see anywhere on, I don't know, documentaries, on photos, online, things like that. For example, extensive hour-long video of the Nazis gathering Jewish people in Lithuania and then having collaborators there beat up those Lithuanian Jews and hosing them down, trampling them, shooting them and killing them, harassing them by stripping them naked, then running after them and then torturing them. Later on, mass burying them, setting them on fire, and things like that. Instances of Eisenhower and others themselves standing next to massive amounts of corpses, of people executed, of people killed and during death marches and so on. Seriously, for interesting reasons, much of the things that have been even photographed or recorded on film are usually not very much prominently shown. If you have it, go to a Holocaust museum and see everything there for yourself. And then say one more time that it didn't happen. Eli, what's up, Eli? Very, very nice to see you here.
What's up, Eli?
Eli said, love you both. Thank you so much. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate it, Eli. Skyscraper Philosopher. Actually, I will not read anything else. I will only keep Eli Shimoon here because he made a $200 super chat. So
that's what you get.
That's what you get, everybody. How dare you? Skyscraper Philosopher got a friend who is entangled into many conspiracy theories. The latest stuff is about Jews. How do you reason with such people you care about? Epistemology, going deep into specific topics to disprove him? Well, I will not be a very good example because I had a one of my best friends from Germany that I also kept in contact with when we moved to Turkey. That was very, very close to me. I shared so much with him. But I always knew that he had a little bit of a problem and he was like extremely paranoid and had some really paranoid personality disorder or something. I couldn't take his nonsense anymore after many, many years and kind of broke with him. But other people might handle this kind of stuff better. David, what is your advice?
Yep. Just got to keep asking some questions, and lead them through everything until you hope they see it. But there eventually comes a point where you're like, okay, nothing works here. In other words, at the end of the day, you don't control the other person. You can try to help the other person, but there are just people who are going to cling to things no matter what. And so eventually you just got to get to the point where, is this the best use of my time?
That's true. because there's only so much that you can endure from having to deal with some people. Oh yeah. The Christian Sodium channel said, look up photos from the Lviv massacre. Yes, you can look that up right there. This is footage from the Lviv massacre, footage that the Nazis themselves took gleefully and lovingly. Really, really messed up things. Where they killed thousands of Jews in public, harassing them, capturing them, shooting them, torturing them, then taking photos with their dead bodies and so on. People did some really, really sick things. Stefan Thomas says, Banality of Evil, Hannah Arendt, also a book tip. I read part of that long time ago.
You didn't read that.
I didn't. But I read the whole. You know what's funny, actually? You can actually, because this other guy was asking about the Eichmann trial transcripts earlier. So not only can you find the Adolf Eichmann trial completely and fully in transcripts, much of it is just kind of is a lot of talk. There are some really, really interesting highlights, but you can actually, there is actually a book which compiles important parts of the transcripts of the trial, which you can see right here. It looks like this. In fact, I have it at home somewhere. Eichmann interrogated, transcripts from the archives of the Israeli police. Here you can have the transcripts of the Adolf Eichmann interrogation leading up to his sentencing and his death, compiled in book form. However, it gets even better. You don't even have to read. You don't even have to read. There is a channel that is set up specifically to host the entirety of the Adolf Eichmann trial. It is called Eichmann Trial EN. It is kind of a painful thing to watch because the trial was held in multiple languages, in Hebrew, German, and English. And they had to go through tedious phases of them asking something in Hebrew, then translating that to German, then asking him in German, then translating that to Hebrew, and so on and so forth. But the entirety of the Adolf Eichmann trial can be found right here on YouTube on a channel known as Eichmann Trial EN, with in English. It's right here. The entirety of it, all sessions of it, can be found right here. So if you want to be a complete nerd and waste your time going through the entirety of the trial of Adolf Eichmann, you can find it right here on YouTube. It's all there, all recorded on video with audio, where you can have him admit to all of the crimes, but then explain that he was just following orders. He also tries to pathetically weasel himself out of it by saying, I don't have any problem with the Jewish people at all. And in fact, I respect the Jewish people. And I also want to sincerely apologize to the Jewish people for the suffering that I myself have caused and all of that. And I am sure that that this Jewish state of Israel will acknowledge that I myself am not a bad person, that I was merely following orders, and that I myself could have done nothing to prevent all of this, and so on. Of course, they blast him then with... we have on record right here, you bragging about killing millions of people. So shut up. Anyway, eventually he was sentenced to death and killed. So, yeah. You can find it right here. Powerful, powerful. Gwyneth Isaacs, hubby's mom hid his Jewishness from him because of Holocaust. That's what they do. Hubby's mom told him Jew when he was 46 in 1981. Wow.
81.
Tez was slightly off topic. Have just seen video circulating of IDF soldier throwing kitten off roof. Is this real? WTF? That was not a soldier. That was some random guy, wasn't it? Yeah, there was a video going around of some guy in Israel throwing a kitten off the rooftop, for which
would this be the proof? Would this be the proof? of what the Jews really are. Would that be the proof?
Which of course they have used to say, look, this is what they do. This is how Jews are. This is how Israelis are. The thing is, the video caused massive anger and uproar inside Israel first, before it went outside. The people responsible were arrested and are now being investigated for committing crimes. So it is actually criminal, disgusting behavior. But why did we all see it? It's because it happened in Israel.
So you're saying all this, we can apply that to all Jews,
Yes.
and all Jews murder kittens. That's what we're saying?
Yes. For some reason, we never see people demonizing Pakistanis over the videos of Pakistanis having sex with donkeys. Of which I had to see so many for some reason. I don't know why I come across these videos of Pakistanis having sex. What is it with Pakistanis having sex with donkeys? I don't understand what this is about. I never see people condemning Pakistan over this.
Yeah, and it's not just that they're banging donkeys over there. They have like entire porn sites where of them banging animals, and then everyone else watches all this stuff.
But somebody in Israel did something to a cat, therefore all Israelis are bad and Pakistanis are angels. So that's what they do. Songs of Relief. Hey, how many of these Holocaust deniers are out there? This is just so hard to comprehend. Is it persecution, envy? They are just liars. Most of the Holocaust deniers don't actually believe that the Holocaust didn't happen. You can't convince me that these people actually genuinely don't think it didn't happen. I genuinely don't think it happened. I hate these multiple negatives. But you can't convince me that these people actually believe it didn't happen. It's just, that's just what they want to say. Because they hate Jews. And they want to protect the Nazis. That's it. Skyscraper Philosopher, seen the 9-hour epic documentary Shoah about Holocaust. One of the best and most important documentaries ever made. Interviews with camp guards, locals, victims. Haven't seen it myself, but have seen much of the evidence already. Yeah.
That seems interesting.
Yep. Did the kitty live? I have no idea. I only saw the clip. That's it. Nicole Jones, I genuinely do not understand why we continue to talk about the Jewish Holocaust when blacks suffered the worst Holocaust ever.
Mainly, Nicole, because you don't have people denying that tons of blacks died
Precisely.
during the transatlantic slave trade and so on.
Precisely.
You don't have people denying that and
Precisely.
just completely lying about it. If they did, if people all of a sudden, if large groups of people all of a sudden sprang out and said, you know what, it's all a lie, there never was any slavery in the United States, it's all a myth made up by black people to try and take over, and they're controlling the media, and so they made up these stories about the transatlantic slave trade, it's all a lie, we would be talking about it. Fortunately, we don't have to, because there's one main group in the world where people do this about.
The Jews. Jeremy Mott, I went to Yad Vashem in Jerusalem and I broke down in tears before I was halfway through the main building. I really wanted to go there, but our visit to Israel was a very messy one, to say the least.
I went there.
As far as I hear, it is much more brutal and much more telling than, for example, the U.S. Holocaust Museum.
It was also much more crowded, I have to say.
Okay.
Although it wouldn't have been crowded when you were there, because that was during the wartime. That's not nearly as many people at the various sites and so on.
Absolved Soul, why is Hitler promoted as the worst genocidist ever when he wasn't? Who said he's the worst genocidist ever?
There is kind of a reason, and you see this in the media and so on, sort of the closer to home something hits, the more you focus on it, right? In other words, Americans and Europeans are not going to focus on a Chinese dictator who killed millions of people as much as they're going to focus on someone where, like, their grandparents were involved, right? Their grandparents were involved in this guy. So As far as what we're familiar with over here in the U.S. and stuff we had to actually deal with, Hitler's kind of he's kind of the worst that hits close to home. You know what I mean? It's the same thing in the media. Like every time they're like, "Oh, there was a terrorist attack in Germany that killed 2 people." Well, guess what? There were 40 terrorist attacks in Africa that killed way more people, and we don't focus on those. Why? Because one's in Europe. It's closer to people in Europe and so on. So anyway, yep, that's the reality. People focus on local news first, national news, and so on.
It is kind of a messed up thing. I mean, it's undeniable that whenever something happens in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa, and that is really messed up and that should draw everyone's attention, we just don't really care about it.
No, me and Robert Spencer have talked about, because we do This Week in Jihad, and we realized really quickly you could do This Week in Jihad every single week, just talking about Nigeria.
Yeah,
every week, because every week there are Muslim attacks on Christians and others in Nigeria, and so you could just report that.
But the thing is,
no one finds out about it unless it's something huge, like with the mass kidnapping of the Christian girls. And
like
so on.
I can't sit here and say, oh, people are hypocrites. They never talk about Nigeria. They never talk about. The thing is, I mean, I do the same thing. It's like I know that there's lots of really, really bad stuff going on in Nigeria that we would be outraged about if it happened somewhere closer. But it doesn't really. I don't think about it. When I hear it, I don't really pay much attention to it. I don't really react to it with as much emotion and outrage as I would if it was happening somewhere closer, somewhere nearby. It's just a kind of a weird, messed up reaction of us, that we react more to something that we feel closer to. That's what we do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Cave Forces said positive Christianity is making a comeback. I hope not. The funny thing is, many of these people who pretend to be Christians or who pretend to be devout Christians and Catholics and whatever it is, and then who start praising the Nazi stuff, they're not even acknowledging the fact that the Nazis created their own perverted, non-Christian form of Christianity. They're pretending as if that never happened, and they're pretending that that their Nazi love actually goes hand in hand with their Catholicism, which is just ridiculous. I mean, I wish they were more obvious and they were more explicit about the fact that the Nazis actually had their own form of Christianity, and they went with that instead of LARPing as devout Catholics or devout Orthodox Christians or devout other Christians, and then also being Nazis at the same time. It's just so messed up. The Nazis killed Christians as well. The Nazis persecuted Christians as well. The Nazis persecuted those Christians who didn't want to allow for the corruption of Christianity as well. Ida Rogozin, always recommend watching the movie The Wave. The German movie.
Good movie. Oh wait, the German one or the American? There's the American one.
Well, are they about the same thing?
It was an actual experiment. Someone actually did it, and it was an American teacher.
Yeah,
who did it?
Okay.
Yeah. So guys, the Wave. It's interesting because it was an after school special when I was a kid. They played it when it was for kids, but it actually made an important point. But yeah, that was an actual teacher who wanted to understand how Nazi propaganda could work. So he starts telling the students in his class, we are going to be called the Wave, and here are the rules and so on. But you actually ended up with students like persecuting other students and so on at like a high school and stuff. And then he had to he eventually announced that their new leader is going to make himself known and so on, the Wave. And he showed them that their leader is Hitler. And then, but anyway, it was crazy. But it's along the lines of the Stanley Milgram experiment that you think people just naturally think, oh, I would have never done that. And no, studies show that most people would, but it's the same thing with how can all these young people have fallen into this trap? The average high school student would apparently fall into this in an instant. just by you shouting at him and giving him purpose and making him feel superior to other people and shouting orders at him.
So exactly, AP. So why do we never hear about the persecution of Christians? Well, for one very simple reason. First off, the Nazis specifically persecuted those Christians who disagreed with their corruption of Christianity. And I have to say, unfortunately, most of those that were part of the body of the Protestant Church in Germany played along with the Nazis. So they persecuted those who didn't play along, and in fact, those formed a counter-Nazi movement. They persecuted a minority of those people. They primarily persecuted the Catholics because the Catholics generally didn't play along with them. However, we don't talk about those because there are a few instances where they kill Christians who don't abide by their system and who say, hey, this is not Christianity. This is not what we do as Christians. But their primary target from the beginning to the end were the Jews. That's why we talk about the Jews here. That's what we're talking about. Hitler didn't start out and randomly said, we are against everybody. And somehow they targeted Jews by mistake or along the way that happened. No, it was from the beginning. It was in his book from the beginning, his main struggle. His whole theory, everything relied on one idea, which is that the Jews are behind everything. This is why we talk about the Jews.
Including Christianity.
Yeah. He also said that Christianity is a Jewish religion, which is why it's a bad thing. Karen Fisher, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17:9.
Good verse for anyone who's like, oh, just trust your heart. Just trust your heart.
Listen to your heart. Listen to your heart.
Powerful verse. Watch the movie Bonhoeffer. Good example. Bonhoeffer was one of those people who I actually just recently watched the movie, but I didn't really like it.
Seen it.
I didn't like it. I think it was poorly made. And good effort, but it's kind of a distortion of facts, because Bonhoeffer himself was actually a supporter of Nazis early on, and only later on he thought, wait a minute, this is getting out of hand, and what in the world are they doing to the Bible? Because he started noticing that the Nazis want to change the Bible and remove the Old Testament and remove any Jewish aspect and turn it into a different book. So he was like, I'm not going to let this happen. And wait a minute, they're persecuting a bunch of people for their beliefs and for their race and so on. I'm not going to let this happen. This is not what we Christians do. So that's why he was persecuted. But the movie kind of makes it look like he was always against the Nazis and so on. That's not really right. And it's like the movie kind of can't really get to the point. I think it could have been done better, unfortunately.
Well, why don't you write the movie if you're so good at it?
Because I don't have time. But but yes, this is actually Bonhoeffer is actually a good example of Christian figures who were killed by the Nazis for their opposition to the Nazis and for their insistence on preserving Christianity and not corrupting it with their garbage. Christian Godfly, where is the urinating upon one another clip from? And also, how is Paley doing? We haven't heard an update in a long time, David.
Not great. So that's all.
There you have it. What does that mean, David? You want to elaborate or not?
No.
Okay, good. The urinating upon one another clip is from a video that is no longer public, where Mohammed Hijab, one day after he came into our live stream, into our chat, and said to us,
words of wisdom, eloquent words of wisdom, speaking to us in the best possible manner.
When he told us golden shower, how about you pee on each other and so on. Next day he went on YouTube and recorded a video in which he justified those things and said urinating upon one another. That's what they do. And then he deleted that video. He deleted that video.
The internet is forever, Mr. Hijab.
But of course, I saved the video as soon as he published it. In fact,
so how are you guys doing?
So this is the video. It was called "Incest with Family: Sexual Urination Response to Apostate Puss." I still find it funny. Incest with family.
As
So-
opposed to normal incest without
Incest
family.
with others, not family.
As opposed to Muhammad's incest, which was with his first cousin / the wife of his own adopted son.
And this was the video.
No agency at all or responsibility in this. I said to him, look, if I were you, a coward like yourself, I'd rather die.
Coward.
From
Didn't this the guy refuse to
cowardliness
debate you?
I have,
Yeah.
Even to support
then
Gaza?
continue or something.
The funny thing is, he's putting this very nicely. What he actually told me here. Here's what he actually said to me. This is what he's trying to explain here right now. If I were an anxiety-ridden, hate-filled, nihilist atheist like A Puss, that's me, I would consider suicide as a serious option. That is because the world offers such humans, in quotation marks, more pain than pleasure. The pain of being a coward, the pain of having no purpose. Just find a tall building and... Apus, I want to give you sincere advice. I think you should commit suicide. Not because you are a talentless coward or because you are a waste of space. I think the world is offering you more pain than pleasure. It is not morally objectionable for you, so why not? He deleted this just within a few minutes or so after he posted it. It says here 1 hour, but that's only because there was a bug or something. I don't know.
Isn't it funny that he's calling you a coward when he just blurts all this stuff out and then he takes it back down because he's scared? Oh no, people are going to make fun of me because of this.
Yeah.
People are going to use this against me. Let me take it back. When it's clearly how he thinks. Didn't he do that with his claim that Western women who criticize Islam deep down actually want to be raped by jihadis and so on, and they'll dress up for them if they get the chance and so on? Yeah, there we go. That's another one he took down pretty quick, isn't it?
I think this might be still up. I don't know.
I don't
Honestly.
think it is.
I believe certain anti-Muslim women would wish they lived in the medieval period, a period where if a war was won by the opposing side, it was conventional that people could be taken as booty. Some historical accounts actually say some women would dress up for the captor. So he's saying anti-Muslim women actually want to be taken as captives and raped by Muslims like himself.
Nope, can't find it.
Okay, then he deleted it.
Coward. Coward!
Didn't like that. But wait a minute, what's the problem? What's the problem? Homosexuality should be fine.
See, this is where that is from.
Homosexuality should be fine. So me speaking about homosexuality or suggesting homosexual acts for you should be fine. Now you might think this is a very crude approach, and I would agree with you, and it's very questionable, but I have a method behind the madness, and you
At least he agrees that it's questionable what he's doing.
need to understand what
As questionable as his prophet being covered with Dihya al-Kalbi's semen, but, you know,
the method
to
is.
each his own, to each his own.
Think about terms like homosexuality, incest, bestiality,
Pedophilia.
and
Pedophilia.
other crude things, right? Suicide,
Pedophilia.
which in the Sharia of Islam are all,
Banging prepubescent girls.
and we're having conversations with liberals who believe in these things. They believe that, or moral nihilists, or relativists, or subjectivists, or atheists, materialists, nihilists. All of these categories of people who really might believe that these things are no higher or greater or lower than what's your favorite color? It's neutral. These are all things that are all the same level of morality. When we're having conversations, we really
Absolved Soul says, AP, just so you know, 5 million non-Jews were killed by Nazis. Oh, really? Really?
Really? Whoa, wait,
Really?
other people were killed? Oh my goodness, we didn't already
Whoa.
talk about that. Oh
Why
my
is nobody
goodness.
talking about this?
Why is nobody talking about this right this second, even though we talked about it at length for like 2 hours ago?
Absolved Soul, if you go down to the description, you will actually find a link to where not just me, but the Holocaust Museum itself, the Holocaust Encyclopedia itself, lists the non-Jews who were killed by the Nazis.
Wait. How come we've never seen this before? Oh, yeah. Wait, we talked about it literally in this. Imagine coming in 3 hours into a live stream and be like, how come you never talk about this thing that you already talked about earlier in the live stream, but you're not talking about it now, so you never talk about it? How can no one ever mention this?
This is exactly what I like earlier when I brought this up here. I said that there are people who will say, "Oh, why are we never talking about the non-Jews?" And then I brought this up, and here you have it. Here's the example right here, right here, right here. This is mentioned everywhere where we talk about the Holocaust. This is mentioned in documentaries where we talk about the Holocaust. This is mentioned in the Holocaust museums. This is mentioned in memorials. This is mentioned wherever you go, wherever there is a place where they educate people on the Holocaust. There is always a breakdown, a mention of how many non-Jewish people they also killed. The only people who apparently never talk about the non-Jews are you guys who think that this is not being talked about because you're dumb.
And guys, it's the same thing when they're like, but why aren't we talking about the transatlantic slave trade? Because no one's denying that happened. Likewise, why aren't we talking about the other people who were killed by the Germans? Because no one's denying that. If you look, hey, if all of a sudden there was this big group of people who said, yo, man, don't act like the Germans killed anyone else except Jews, and they spread that around the world, we'd be responding to that too. Because we believe in responding. We believe in responding to really stupid claims that really dumb people are going to fall for. So yeah, get it through your heads, you idiot gropers. The reason we're responding to this is because you idiots keep lying about it. If you were lying about something else, yes, we'd be talking about that. But don't sit here and lie. Oh, the Holocaust is made up. It's just a lie. A couple thousand Jews may have died, but it wasn't a Holocaust. And then wonder why we talk about it when you say these idiotic things. You bring it up, you lie, you spread the lies to a bunch of gullible people. There are young people who don't know any better who are seeing this idiotic nonsense online and they believe it because Dan Bilzerian says it, and we respond to it, and then you go, why are you talking about the Jews? Why are you focusing on that?
Secondly, one of the reasons we actually don't emphasize this very much is that a significant portion of those 5 million were Soviet prisoners of war, and the two sides were fighting each other, and the two sides were not exactly angel and devil, good and evil. They were kind of both quite bad. That's also one of the reasons why we don't talk about this very much.
Yeah, it's a similar reason to, why don't you talk about all the Nazis who died? What about them? Well,
why would I? I don't care.
Yeah, we're not interested. We're not interested in talking about the Nazis who died. They were.
It's sad. It shouldn't have happened. But why would I talk about it?
Tract those discussions. We say homosexuality is this, and when we talk about homosexuality as an abstract concept.
This guy's an expert on golden showers, homosexuality,
I don't want to
incest. He seems to really want to talk about this stuff.
But what does incest entail? It entails there has to be some kind of foreplay, some kind of luring process between relatives. There has to be a sexual drive.
Is that how it works? Good job.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
The funny thing is he's bringing this up completely randomly. Like, I never talked about incest. Like, this is not something that is about me or anything like that. It's just something that he himself decided to bring up and in detail talk about. So weird, man.
It's a man. A painful anal pelvis. Negative coordinate. You're a hypocrite. First place. It's like, for example, something within the Sharia of Islam. You see, this really does expose these questions. You find that disgusting? Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Okay, there it is.
Urinating. And if you look at the Twitter.
Skeeting on one another. Walking around covered in semen. That's what my prophet does.
Spelling out the grotesque details of what such sexual encounters will entail. Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Wait, how's he learning all this?
You find that disgusting?
He knows all the details of how homosexual encounters and stuff about urinating on one another works.
Yeah.
Where you learn all this stuff, Hijab? This is news. This is news to everyone.
I never had such an obsession with gimps and
And in fact, I was watching some videos just the other day. I mean, for research purposes, mind you. I was watching all these videos.
I never had such an obsession, such great interest in all kinds of different sexual fantasies, in the details of homosexual intercourse, the details of golden showers, of urinating upon one another, and so on. It's like this guy suddenly introduced to me the idea of being so obsessed with these things. This is what Islamic scholars and Dawa guys do, you see. Anyway, this is where it's from. This video is not public because he published it and then he deleted it just a day later or so.
Coward.
And the funny thing about that is, by the way, that this video is supposed to be an explanation why he made those crude things. So he's like, "Oh, you think I just post something and then I'm scared and delete it? No, let me explain why I did this." But anyway, let me delete this explanation too now.
This is the face of Dawa in the world.
Golden showers, golden showers, golden showers.
Oh, hey, Hijab, why you keep talking about golden showers and jints and all this other stuff and urinating upon one another? Why are you talking about this stuff?
Well, let me post this detailed video explaining what happens in all the videos I watch in my careful research.
And then the response is, "Whoa, dude, you seem to know an awful lot about all this pervy stuff."
Oh, let me take down the video.
Man, Muslim apologists. PBUM AP 99 names of Allah comes from Jesus' life, 33 years multiplied by 3 Trinity equal 99. I was very sick yesterday. Watched your show, made me feel better. Good. Alhamdulillah. I would say that I'm not sure. There could of course be one reason, but why exactly there are the 99 names which some people like to make decors of like this, and then sell online and
then break
is interesting. Unfortunately, mine broke. Not because I was engaged in any kinds of activity or anything. It just broke because it fell down. But yeah, there are decor like this where there is the 99 names of Allah on it. Yes. Some of you might think, what is that? It looks kind of weird. No. Not sure what you're thinking. There are the 99 names of Allah are on here, as you can see. It's powerful. Frida Lavan said, check out Bashir Gemayel. Who is Bashir Gemayel? The former president of Lebanon. What do you want me to check out about?
Yeah, just check it out. Spend all day checking it out.
Christina says, how do you think the downfall of Dawa will affect apostasy rates, especially in the West? Thanks for your work. Thank you, Christina. How do I think it will affect apostasy rates? David, how do you think it will affect apostasy rates?
I mean, these things take time. The apostasy rates have been skyrocketing for years, but there are still tons of Muslims who think their guys are champions and that everyone's running from them and so on, and they're finding out otherwise. They're finding out otherwise. 99 safe words of Allah.
Yeah, they're finding out otherwise. But yes, it will have an impact. That's part of it.
People are going to catch on more and more because, I mean, think how many people are actually paying attention to whether a Muslim will agree to debate at modern day debate right now. There are people paying attention. There are people who are seeing it and so on. But I mean, most people are not paying attention to that. So it's not catching on with most people. But over time, people will catch on with it more and more. In other words, it seems like every debate con and so on, all these conferences and so on for debates, it's always going to be apparently Christians and atheists mainly, and Muslims just not involved because they're giving up. It's like, hey, these things don't work out for us. Even when we think we do, it doesn't work out in the long run.
It's James. James is in the chat. Has been here, I guess. James, what's up? How you doing, man? How you doing, James? I know it's a big struggle. This is, I guess, your jihad to find a Muslim debater because they won't accept. This is your kampf. I understand. Not sure how we're going to handle this, James, but I will still be there. I'm open to debating any of these people who have a platform. You asked me about Ijaz. I'm open to that as well. In fact, that would be hilarious.
Yeah. Hey, Jaws, you can also check with the Muslim cowboy. Guarantee you he's not going to agree and so on.
Muslim cowboy. The Muslim cowboy. Muslim cowboy. Yeah. Sancho Panza, Andrew Wilson sees tonight's stream, lights cigarette, clenches fist, weeps bitterly. Andrew Wilson is just prison Ben Shapiro. He chose the fight. He chose to fight.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah,
He
if you're going to cry from one word of criticism from an atheist couple years ago, and then want to debate him on his weak version of Christianity,
I'm not even sure.
you got issues, man.
I'm not sure if it was that long ago.
I got hurt feelings. I got hurt feelings, and I need to take it out on AP for his Christianity. I got hurt feelings. I'm Andrew Wilson. This go how you think it would, Andrew? That's right. Just keep it attacking everyone's buddies and see what happens.
But you know what they say: hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people. Hurt.
What?
I was agreeing with you. Hurt people. Hurt people.
There's a man down in Texas who's got folks confused. He swapped his boots for sandals and a camel he used. He calls himself Muslim cowboy, thinks he's the real deal. But his busted up truck says, buddy, get real. Oh, Muslim cowboy, riding through the sand. In your backyard, pastor, thinking it's the Holy Land. You're praying toward Mecca, but you're facing Fort Worth. Trying to bring the 7th century back to earth.
That's funny.
I was experimenting.
You think you're facing Mecca, you're facing Fort Worth. That's funny.
I was experimenting a little bit with a song for Muslim Dawah yesterday. So funny you would bring that up. Style and rail woodworking. Muhammad said, Dihya al-Qalbi's man juice is halal. See? Your juice is 100% halal. That's what he said to him. Noam to Corey Gil Schuster Ask Project has a video interviewing a rabbi about common anti-Talmud talking points. I think I saw that somewhere and put it on my watch later list, but never got back to watching it later. Corey Gil Schuster, rabbi. That's also a very nice rabbi. In fact, that is the rabbi who gave us this sound here.
It is totally based.
Let's see. Gil Schuster, Rabbi Talmud. He has different videos. Wait a minute. There is a video of, is the Prophet Muhammad mentioned in the Bible? How did I never come across this?
What, where?
Is the Prophet Muhammad mentioned in the Bible? What the heck?
Ask an Israeli. Nice. Hey, speaking of Muhammad mentioned in the Bible, they ask him about Song of Songs 5:16. We're gonna be talking about what's her face, Lily J's video about Muhammad in the Bible tomorrow on IP's channel. So check
IP
that out
as well.
Sure
Tomorrow we're gonna be live on IP's channel.
We all pee.
We all gonna pee tomorrow on IP's channel, where we will talk about Lily J, the new face of the Da'wah.
The
new
hour.
face of the Da'wah.
The new face of the hour. The hour. The hour. The hour. The hour. The hour.
But yeah, I was looking at Lily J's channel here, and I had to discover some really, really weird things. Such as that she has music videos that seem quite sexual here. It's kind of weird to me. She's the face of Dawa now.
What the heck?
She's sucking a lollipop and stuff.
Do people watch this crap? That's the same chick? She looks different. What, she goes blonde?
It's her. She dyed her hair blonde. Look, it's her. I guess when this didn't work out, she went for the Dawa instead.
Didn't work. So music. How many views did that stuff get?
It actually 100,000 views.
And that's so that's smart. So, and oh my goodness, 7 years ago. So, and probably most of those. Oh, no. She was getting views back in the day on those. I was thinking maybe it's just people going back and watching them and so on. That was back in the day. Huh. 100,000 views on her Powerful Music.
Yeah. See? First 28 days. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, let this be a lesson to you, folks. If you want attention, you can make a music video and so on, but that takes a lot of work. Song, music, the video, all that stuff, lots of work. Or you can just grab a phone and say,
Chat GPT, I'll program you to say that Islam is great, isn't it? So tell me about Islam.
it's great. And you get way more views. You get way more views doing that than with your songs.
Powerful. I'm curious what this says.
There's a line in Hebrew here, which Muslims claim is proof that Muhammad is.
He laughed as soon as he looked.
I wonder what he says though. Maybe he will say yes, they have a point.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Prophesized in the Hebrew Bible.
You know, these are word plays. Again, I'm not dismissing it, but you know, this is from the Song of
Trying to be
Songs.
nice.
And it says Chiko Mamtakim. It's describing a relationship with God. His palate is sweet, V'kulo Machmadim, and his entire presence is one of delight. So they're doing a word play. Machmadim are the same letters as Muhammad, Muhammad. So they want to read into this proof. Again, I mean, I explained what the proof is. It's no proof. I mean, Machmadim is a Hebrew word that means delightful, sweet. But, you know, it's only, you know, if you believe in Muhammad, you'll then read this into the word. But there's no compelling reason why there's a reference to Muhammad just because it sounds similar. You know, so you have to analyze a proof. You know, what is a proof? I mean, proofs are proofs when the most logical and simple.
I find it funny how nice he's about this. When
He's extremely nice. He's extremely nice. I'm not dismissing it, but
but you saw
there's not quite a compelling. No, you know it sounds completely idiotic.
His initial reaction was just the laughter, and then
and then he goes into, well, I don't want to be offensive here, but
yeah.
I'll try and be as gentle as possible.
We know what you really think. Here's what you really think.
In Hebrew here, which Muslims claim is proof that Muhammad is.
What is a proof? I mean, proofs are proofs when the most logical and simple and obvious interpretation of a verse leads to a certain conclusion. I mean, I'll give you an example of this.
So yeah, he says it's nonsense. But he has more videos, I guess, where he talks about the Talmud and so on. So that's that. Powerful.
It is totally based.
Same guy, by the way. Noam to Jana Levy says Jen Netanyahu's alter ego here. What does Bar Hobo mean? Bar Hobo is a figure that
is relevant in debates with Dawa guys. He's a popular figure that Dawa guys like to talk about in their debates. Bar Hobo.
Somebody should clip that part. Yeah. I should clip that and just post it. But it's just such a petty thing to make a video or to make a clip about. But it's basically me bringing up in a debate the other day to Central Dawa, Muslim apologist, that Jews and Christians alike were waiting for a Messiah, and that there were certain Jews who, a century after Jesus, claimed that Bar Kokhba, who was a rebel, was the Messiah. And of course, Central Dawa, not knowing any of this kind of stuff, wanted to sound informed. And in his response then said, and you mentioned Jesus, and you also mentioned Bar Kokhba. So that's where that's from. Jack Ray, was Craze Days involved with mishandling of goats? Yes. Noam to a modern German, his name is Heinrich Himmler. That's true. Songs of Relief, remember Bonhoeffer, Carrie ten Boom, Maria Ziefle. That's true. There are lots of people. Hey, wasn't there a story Did you ever make a clip about that?
What?
That one guy on that Greek island, that one Orthodox guy on that Greek island who said, "I'm not giving my Jews to you all."
I didn't make a video about it. I just did a post about it.
Powerful.
Yeah, that guy was pretty cool. So yeah, the Germans showed up and said, "Hey, we know how many Jews are on your island. We want a list of them." And he handed back the list. And I've heard two versions. One, the main one is he handed back the list with just his name on it, and said, "Here's your list of Jews." And the other one it was him and one other guy. It was some say it was him and one other guy were on the list and so on. But anyway, the island hid the Jews up in their towns and so on. So anyway, not one Jew from that island was ever taken. So that was cool.
So, see, those are based Christians for those gropers in the chat. That's what based Christians did. They protected the Jews.
Yeah, these guys think they're based, and they would have been the literal freaking Nazis.
Yeah,
thinking they're cool. Bunch of morons, man.
They would have harassed old women and killed them in the streets. Stefan Thomas even can understand of all of gibber that's exhausting. Powerful. Obsis, AP, where's your... I know, listening to Heinrich Himmler it's such a pain. AP, where's your Diddy grandpa head on the ground? Brett G, David Wood, please study for your debate with Alex. You need to get your get back for all the Christians that smoked on Jubilee. Please wear AP Diddy grandpa head to the debate.
Did Christians get smoked on the Jubilee thing?
Likely.
That's interesting. Alex is I'm trying to think. I've seen some interviews with Alex, like him and Jordan Peterson. He moderated a discussion with, but yeah, I'm not terribly familiar with him. Heard nothing but good things about him.
He's a smart dude. I always thought if there's one person who will be raised to become a thinker of our time from the people who question religion sphere, it will be him. The rest are a bunch of hobos.
Bar hobos.
Yes. Brad G, something got hard when I see that cross on AP. That's very, very pretty messed up.
Hey, we should take a picture of a hobo outside a bar.
I know.
And that could be the bar hobo mascot.
That's true. Loves of Bread, The Eichmann Show is a good movie. There's a movie like that? There's a movie like that? TV movie from 2015. Huh. I'll check it out. Modern Day Debate. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, what's up, James? What's up, James? Still searching for your opponent, but I've got leads. Oh, that's good. That's good news. That's good news. I doubt that your effort with Farid will go anywhere. I doubt that Mohammed Hijab will lead anywhere. Even if you say, I will personally make sure that all Palestinians will own the land of Israel, he would still be like, no.
Nope.
But yeah, hope to see the results, the fruits. Loaves of Bread. The Eichmann trial was broadcast primetime in the US. Yes, it was. Adrian, off topic, is Giant DOC be taken down for the time being, I think.
Yeah, I think they did that as precaution while they're dealing with the copyright issue. What you have is who is it? Is it the Muslim Mum? It's one of those channels, but yeah, they're hitting with false copyright strikes. You can always hit people with like false copyright strikes, which you get in trouble for, but you have to go through a process and so on. So, yeah, it's basically it's like a 10-day process or something like that for YouTube to get back to you and so on. But if I've already told them, if you need to go the legal route and actually go after them with a lawyer, then we will crowdfund the lawyer. But yeah, we're not gonna allow this to happen because I mean, just think about it. It's like you can't find one of these guys willing to debate anymore, and they can't silence you like the Sharia method, namely just killing you. So now they just try and silence you with pathetic false copyright. We had to deal with this with like what's his name, Sheikh Yasser Qadi, when he was all butthurt and was trying to was false flagging everyone's videos where anyone talked about the holes in the narrative interview. But guess what? They were all fake strikes. So he lost all those. Bunch of cowards, man. Bunch of
Fake
cowards.
news.
Cowards.
You are fake news. Zachary Gilpay, thank you so much for speaking the truth. As a Jew, I appreciate it. The sad truth is for every one of you guys, there are 10 that hate me and my people. I know. People are really messed up and ignorantly like to jump on trains that they are kind of unfamiliar with because other people like to spread hate and dishonesty and all that.
There is. That's why I brought up the locus of control thing earlier on. That
I don't like locusts.
some people like blaming other people and so on, because then you don't feel responsible, and so it's just like a psychological crutch. Oh yeah, the way things are, anything bad, I get to blame this other group, and therefore I'm not responsible for the way things are, and so on. It's pathetic, but it's very common.
Did you ever eat locust?
Try to think. When I was a kid, did I ever try one? I ate some weird stuff. I ate worms and stuff. I don't think I ever ate a grasshopper or a locust or anything.
You like to talk about locusts of control, so.
And then I wonder, when you eat grasshoppers, you just or locusts, do you just go grab one and eat it, or do you like roast it or something like that?
You're supposed to roast them. Apparently, it's basically like chips. You just roast them and then eat them like that.
I'd try it. We'll try it.
Yeah. It sounds like a fun thing to do. I thought I should do it sometime. I know. So this is apparently Bar Hobo. Yeah. This is Bar Hobo.
Bar Hobo. The nemesis of Dawa. Dawa.
Share, folks. Share indeed. It's been 3 hours already. What the hell? Soldier of Christ, David Wood. Jay's channel had their videos removed by false copyright strikes. Can you help? Also, please unblock me so I can donate to you as well. Unblock Soldier of Christ now.
No, Soldier of Christ. You'd have to. I have no idea what I blocked you for, but I block people for a reason. So you'd have to say why I blocked you and why that is no longer an issue. Other than that, I have to trust my former self and say I must have blocked him for a reason.
That's true. Here's another one. I appreciate. Willett says, I appreciate when you go after the history revisionists and other conspiracy theories. Considerable share of AFD voters are exactly that. Don't be blind just because you and I like their stance against Islam. I'm very well aware that in the AFD, which is a big umbrella party, there are different factions. Some of them are revisionist people. Some of them are quite reasonable people. It has different factions, and I am very, 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 very aware of that. So I'm also going to meet a prominent AfD figure who is very pro-Israel and who is not really on board with that kind of stuff. Misha SWB, the Britons worship Lord Elon as the Jews worship Ezra. It is true. Mojab not helping Palestinians with a debate. You see the power of Lord Ezra. Powerful. See? There you go. Thank you. Thank you, Misha.
Yeah, hijab, definitely not helping Palestinians. He's helping us, though.
Yep.
Thank you.
Gina L. said, between Musk salutes Trump, both sides, and Holocaust deniers, what's wrong with education camps? Lost a friend over this idiocy and dishonesty. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have a big problem with Elon Musk's salute, as we talked about it.
No, they're saying as far as people being
That's
complete idiots.
That's true.
And this person is advocating taking all the idiots and putting them on.
I think people should be put
in education camps.
I think people should be put in education camps
to be educated.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. Martyr, he looks like he wants to have a homosexual encounter with a homeless person in his car. Yeah, that's what he looks like.
Bar hobo.
Yeah,
he's driving around looking for bar hobo.
Yeah. Are Groypers dumber than Dawagandists, or are they the same? I would say that Dawagandists are usually dumber than Gropers. Gropers are just more dishonest and overall they have a weird, wicked sense of sickness. I feel more disgusted when Gropers approach me than when Dawagandists approach me, honestly. Because I think when Dawagandists, when the Muslim apologists come with their lies and their stuff, I think that they are genuinely convinced of something really messed up, which is why they are arguing against me. When Gropers come at me, These are not people who are just brainwashed into believing Islamic claims. These are people who are sick. So, yeah. Asa, what's up, Asa? Hijab is a perv, and thank you for talking about the Holocaust for the last 3 hours. Keep up the good work, boys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very, very much. Martyr. So Hijab wants 99 names of Allah as a butt plug. Yes, he already has it, I think.
That's what they do.
Asa, by the way, love from everyone at Mossad. Oh, thanks. Say hello to the team. Hope they're doing well. Got my last payment. Trying to keep up. Thank you, Asa. Sancho Panza, Mojab seems to know almost as much as Tate about how to please a man. He does. He studied it very, very deeply for scientific purposes. Martyr, AP, I'm a Christian and I'll debate you on Muhammad unbiased, but I promise I won't threaten your like central crybaby. I'm a missionary, but I'm not as smart as either of you. David Wood, God bless you for Nabil. But I don't know why you want to debate me.
Yeah, you'd be humiliated.
Yeah, you'll be crushed. But thank you, Martyr. Appreciate it. Tom Bobadil says, ever see the film Not Without My Daughter?
No, heard about it. Famous film, Sally Field. Every woman who's getting into a certain relationship with guys should check it out. But yeah, it's a woman who married a Muslim man and had a daughter and is in the Middle East and then finds out, things change after a while and their behavior changes quite radically when you have a child and so on. And they insist upon raising the girl as a Muslim and all these things. And she decided to, I think it was based on a true story.
I know it's about a book. But then the book is based on, I don't know, something like that. But I don't think I've seen the movie. David the Wingling says, IP, we know you're a groiper. Quiet, man. Stefan Thomas, AP, your beard is better than Daily Wire. David, you see. Just kidding. I'm glad you added just kidding. Otherwise, we would have never understood that.
No, he's right. I mean, Ben Shapiro doesn't have a beard. Jordan Peterson doesn't have, the Daily Wire guys do not have beards. So you're correct.
True. That's true. That's a good point. Brett's G. David wears AP's Diddy Grandpa head to the debate. Yeah, David wear AP's Diddy Grandpa head to the debate.
Probably not.
The cat lady Jews worldwide millions. Before World War II, 1617. After 11, now 15.7. Jewish population is still not recovered. Will take approximately 15 to 20 years. Armenia before genocide 2. After 1, now 11 something. Powerful.
Yep, because that's what happens in genocides. Populations decrease. It's just weird that the population of Gaza actually increased during the past 15 months of fighting. The population actually increased. Interesting, isn't that weird?
And they came out very happy and very like, yeah.
Celebrating.
We won. Idiots, we won. Stupid idiots. Society. Stefan Thomas, to be more serious again, great work you both do. Thank you so much. I appreciate very much. I do. David, anything you else want to say?
Nope. Just again, reminder that we'll be on Inspiring Philosophy tomorrow, talking about Lily J's powerful da'wah.
Please wear AP's Diddy Grandpa hat, David.
There's no scenario where I'm wearing AP's Diddy Grandpa hat.
Live on Diddy live on IP's channel tomorrow. We will be, so check it out tomorrow. Check it out tomorrow,
or
else you'll be humiliated and possibly put in an education camp, in a re-education facility where you will then have to learn that you have to watch live streams when we do them. Anything else, David?
Nope.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope this is a lesson to the gropers. And
stop groping. Gropers,
stop groping
Gropers, stop groping. Gropers, stop groping. Gropers, stop groping.
Gropers, stop groping. Yeah. Hope they stop groping people. It's not worth it. Read a book. Learn something. Stop groping. If you don't want to read books, listen to something. I don't know. If you don't want to listen to something, go to a Holocaust museum. If you don't want to go to a Holocaust museum, just No, don't do that. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. As always.
Homosexuality should be fine.
Sorry, wrong button. As always, thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate everybody very much. Every single person here. Appreciate you all so much. Tomorrow we will be live on the channel Inspiring Philosophy. Until then, as always. In other words,
stay away from Islam.
Powerful.